We shall be good in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5,
Four,
4,
three,
3,
two,
2,
one.
1. Hey, everybody. You are listening and watching to the We Are Rizin podcast. This is your host, Andrew Benjamin. I'm joined by my co-host from down south and COVID-free co-host, Jay Christian Gary from Focus Fights.
Hey, y'all. How's it going? And we're also joined by our favorite Rizin fan from Southern California and our favorite Rizin insider, originally from Indianapolis, now living in Japan, JayWolf and damn it, I'm already getting the names fucked up. JayWolf and CJ, aka Charles Jewett. How you guys doing?
Excellent, and thank you for the introduction and a very Merry Christmas. I hope you guys had a great Christmas and now are ready for get on some violence. This epic Rizin New Year's Eve mega card we got here.
First off, before we get into anything, I gotta give you credit, CJ. Great arc on the AACC 20-year anniversary.
Thank you. Yeah, it was kind of out of the blue. We went to like AACC to interview Saudi Oshima, and they were like, by the way, we're doing our 20th anniversary party next week. You should come take pictures and talk to some of the fighters. So I didn't realize I knew they had been an important gym, but I didn't realize how far back they actually went.
Yeah, I mean, especially now it is I would probably call it the top, at least I guess female focused gym in Japan at this point.
Well, I mean, they've always kind of been that. It's always just kind of been like AACC versus everybody else. And it might be because they were first, but I mean, as Abe said, he thinks that women benefit a lot from training with other women. And so the gym that's going to have the most women is just going to attract more women. It's kind of like a snowball effect.
Yeah,
I was kind of surprised because, I mean, Saudi Oshima doesn't live close to there. She drives like an hour and a half each way to get to that gym. Miko Nirvana, she moved from a different prefecture to come train here. So like women are coming from all around the country to train with Ayaka Hamasaki and Rena.
I'm pretty sure that when they see, hey, Ayaka Hamasaki, Rizin champion, is part of that gym. I'm pretty sure as soon as she won the belt, yeah, they just got suddenly more women.
One of the women just literally said that. She said, I was getting into martial arts and my coach was like, I was watching Rising on TV and there's this gym called AACC. You should go there.
Also, I want to, he's not here with us, but Jack Wanon also wrote a great article on Daisuke Sato, the Pride Rizin VTR Confessions Guide. Did anybody get a chance to read that?
I did. I loved it.
Great article.
I loved it.
I
liked how he interviewed people to get like what their perception of the videos were, especially from like people that can't understand the language that the videos are being made in, yet they're made so well they still understand what's going on.
Oh, that's the beauty of them.
Exactly.
That's the beauty of them.
The thing is about that article that Jack Wanon posted with the Rizin VTR guy, you would have to think that one of the main focal points of the article was that when Daisuke Sato began doing this thing back in the mid-90s for Fuji TV, I'm pretty sure, CJ, you probably have heard of this by now, but he had no video experience. He had no technical experience on how to work videos and all that stuff. He basically had to do that from the ground up. So all that shit that you've seen in Rizin and Pride and even Dream was possible because of him. And I think that I think that MMA fans all over the world would consider Daisuke Sato as an unsung hero.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Especially
it's
in
kind
Japan,
of funny how, I'm sorry, go ahead, CJ.
It's like in Japan, unlike the UFC, at least modern UFC is a lot more about storytelling, like in the MMA world. It's definitely got that pro wrestling roots. And without those VTRs, I can tell you that my wife and her friends just wouldn't be into Rising. Like when they go to the events, they're on the edge of their seats waiting for the opening VTR. Like, what's it going to be? What's it going to be? So he's definitely a really important part of its growth.
And here's the other thing is that, when the Trigger show happened, and I'm pretty sure, I don't know if it happened for the Landmark show. Yeah, they didn't have them except for like the main event. And so there was a disappointing factor to it. It's like, even though they don't subtitle them for us, we still still like such an integral part of the, I guess, the Rizin experience that like when they're not there, you kind of miss them.
That's right.
Well, I will say one criticism of Rising is that they put events off so late that they kind of have to slap so much stuff together at the last minute.
Oh yeah.
And
this
going into this card, I mean,
this is because of COVID that this card was slapped. Remember, because
well,
they
man,
got the rug pulled out from under them and weren't
it's
allowed
not
to
a
have
recent
fighters.
it's not a recent development. Japanese MMA has always had like announcements the day of, like, oh, turns out Bob Sapp's not fighting, things like that. So, but I mean, the graphics, like they misspelled Deep Jewels. They put the Japanese flag under Siwoo Park, which upset all of her Korean fans. Then she had to ask Rising to make it the Korean flag. And so, I mean, there's just like a lot of stuff. Just like,
I mean, kind of think,
really
is
quickly.
that the same thing for Bainoa, who was born in Oakland, California, which
Oh,
means
did they mess
he's
up
American?
his flag too?
Yep.
Yeah, they mess up stuff all the time. They messed up Emi Fujino's name on the poster. So when you're slapping a bunch of stuff, I mean, they do a really good job, but when you're slapping stuff together at the last minute, stuff tends to get messed up. And I think the same thing with Sato is that when you have the Landmark show, the Triggers show, and the New Year's Eve show, like all just back to back to back, he's not going to have enough time to make a VTR for 30, 40 fights in a month.
Well, that's why he didn't do the Trigger event.
Yeah,
he only did it for the main card, so it lessens the burden on him.
Yeah.
But the reason that like the reason this card was quote unquote slapped together last minute is because of COVID. Remember, they got the rug pulled out from under them. They're supposed to have international fighters and stuff on it, but stupid COVID, but we're just thankful that they're allowed to have 30,000 fans there, and they were able to pull a rabbit out of the hat, basically. Sakakibara-san just pulled some magic and made a great card happen here for us. Can't wait.
Before we get into the card, though, I have to quickly ask and keep thoughts, I guess, condensed, because this is months and months away. Takaru versus Tenshin. CJ, your thoughts on seemingly this fight that was never going to happen, presumably happening.
So the rumors started spreading about it the day before it was announced because a bunch of media members became aware that both K1 and Rise were having press conferences at the same time at 3:00. And normally when there's a press conference, they tell you who's involved so that you can prepare your questions in advance. But this one they didn't. So it was like, without saying the names, they told them more because everyone's like, well, then it's clearly Takeru versus Tenshin because the two promotions are meeting to talk about it. And then there was kind of like the Instagram post hinting at it from both Takeru and Tenshin. And my initial reaction was, I was talking to my wife about it, was there's no way this is going to be on New Year's Eve. And my thought process was, this fight alone could sell out the Tokyo Dome. And they've already sold all the tickets to the super arenas. It'd be almost like wasting it because they could jack up the ticket prices. They can put this in the Tokyo Dome. They can sell out the Tokyo Dome. And they're going to want to do like 1 to 2 months of TV promotional events, put Tenshin and Takeru on all the variety shows and really jack this up so they can get to the levels of like Kid versus Masato and just shatter TV records. So when they announced it was happening, my initial thought was it's not going to be on New Year's. New Year's is already sold out, and New Year's already has a ton of big fighters on it. But the fact that it's happening, when it does happen, if it happens, it's going to be, I think it would probably be one of the biggest fights in kickboxing history.
Can we laugh at the fact that perhaps the greatest cock tease Sakakibara Rizin did on that when they announced Cozy and Yaman, and people thought it was going to be Tenshin Takaru, and then as soon as Cozy and Yaman came out, I was kind of like reading the Japanese chat, and I don't know Takaru's kanji, but I know Tenshin's kanji because I've seen it so many times. And I was just like, when he was coming out, I just saw like the Nasakawa. And as soon as Koji and Yaman came up, it looked like I believe it was like kind of like disappointment in the chat when I was in the press conference.
They kind of shot themselves in their foot because when you're hinting at like the biggest fight ever, anything that's not that is going to seem like a disappointment. I mean, like, I was kind of the same way with like the Tenshin versus Gomi announcement. Like, why are you making these announcements after Tenshin Takeru? Like, nobody cares at this point.
Jay?
That being said, I do know kickboxing fans are pretty excited for the Koji Yaman fight. It's been described to me that there's probably no kicks are going to be thrown, only headbutts and punches.
Jay, just initial thoughts on Taku retention.
Oh, super excited. What a great Christmas present to the fans. Santa Sakakibara-san coming through for the fans, getting it done.
Sorry, Jay, I gotta correct you. Listen, Rizin technically is not involved. Technically, he's only an executive producer, whatever that means.
Sakakibara-san was sitting right in the middle of them as they were announcing it. So he's the Santa Claus in this scenario, bringing the gifts for the fans. So I'm just so excited about it. And, you know, it's just, I can't wait. And I hope it goes off without a hitch. I hope it goes exactly like CJ was saying. The Tokyo Dome sold. I hope they try to break the record of 91,000 fans that the almighty Pride FC and K1 set back in the day in like 2002 or 3, whatever year it was. But I could see this rivaling that and pushing that record possibly. So it's going to be a lot of fun. I can't wait. And it's going to do huge numbers for Rizin. I mean, huge, not just Rizin, but the combat sports in Japan as a whole. It's just going to do huge numbers. And it's going to be a boon for the sport, basically. And just, it's awesome. I mean, we saw in the Rizin Trigger event where it was super violent, one of the most violent shows of the year, arguably event of the year with regional level talent, basically. And there was the first stomp KO that happened. I don't care if it was a no contest. That was a stomp KO. That was the first stomp KO of the new era. And look at how much other violence was on there with soccer kicks and everything. We are entering a new golden era. And Takeru Tenshin is going to be the super fight that just kicks in the door. And the golden era is here, ladies and gentlemen. It's just going to be so much fun. I can't wait. Next year's going to be a blast.
Jay Chris? Oh, sorry. Hello, Jay Chris?
Yeah. I think that when it comes down to what Rizin is trying to do, I mean, yeah, they want to think that, hey, we're not going to be working on the... I mean, they basically want to make you think that they're not going to be working on the Tenshin versus Takeru Sagawa card because, hey, all we got is just involvement in it. We're not going to basically put our fighters on it when we're going to know in like 6 months' time when everything is calmed down, everybody's getting their shit prepared, and when a card has to be filled out, we're not going to be surprised to see so many Rizin fighters on that damn card if there is going to be a fight card. I mean, because there has to be. Can't be just Tenshin versus Takeru selling out the Tokyo Dome. You have to have a great ass undercard. Mm-hmm. But yeah, as far as what we're getting into, the new era of combat sports in Japan, the whatever is this? I know last era was the Heisei era. What era is this again, CJ?
Oh, the Reiwa?
Yeah, the Reiwa era. Yeah, we're getting into the Reiwa era of combat sports in Japan. And I think this card for Rizin 33 is going to probably be the main example of why we're getting into that era. That's all I got to say.
Okay, yeah. And, I think a great starting point will be the true main event, Shibatara versus Yutaku. Nope, not just kidding. We're not gonna start with that. We'll get into that much later.
Oh, you just dick tease us on a Shibatara fight.
Shibatara.
I have to. So
what was that, G. Chris? Oh my God, are you pulling a
strong
Jake
words?
On us?
How dare you? How dare you? How dare you, Jay Chris? You're banned. You are canceled.
Kick him out of the chat. Kick him out. Banhammer him.
No. So I was curious to know what they're going to do in terms of how they're going to organize a card because this is a 16 fight card. We got MMA, we got kickboxing, we got boxing. Boxing-ish, I guess I'll call it. But apparently the first fight is this fight. King Kazu's son taking on Yushi. And CJ, this is where I'm gonna ask for your knowledge. And I was asking my friends in Japan, like, if this fight is actually getting like any sort of like mainstream publicity, and they said absolutely none. And can you confirm or deny that like Kota Miura is not like this hasn't like broken into the mainstream?
I think it depends. I think it's more of a regional thing because I think he's from Osaka, is he not? Or I feel like he has some connection to Osaka. I may be wrong, but so I feel like they'd be covering it more down there.
Mm-hmm.
Let me check. Never mind. Doesn't say where he's from. Oh, he's from Kyogo. So he's from near Osaka and Kobe. So I think he's a Kansai guy. And I know that Babalu Jack was mentioning he was in the paper down there, but I mean, not really up here. But I will say he was in the recent Rising Confession video.
I saw it, yes.
A lot of people liked it. They were like, they liked the fact where he was like, yeah, I know that I'm here because I have a famous dad, but I'm trying to make my own name and all this stuff. So they're doing, with their storytelling, they're doing a good job of building it. And I think a lot of young fans are kind of interested to see how he does.
This fight's weird though, because like, so the Rizin press release says that it's a pro fight. Tapology says it's amateur, yet Rizin's promoting it as a Rizin challenge match with like, it will, the rules are different. So there's no elbows allowed, no foot stomps, soccer kicks, which being that he's the son of a soccer player, are allowed, and knees to a ground opponent are also allowed. But it's also 3 rounds, 3 minutes. So like
basically, Andrew, what you're trying to say is it's a glorified soccer match.
Well, I was gonna say it feels like an exhibition match without calling it an exhibition match. I mean,
you can basically say it's like a soccer match in the ring.
Wait, what are you talking about?
But there's like I mean, Rising's always, Japanese MMA's always had that thing where you're gonna have like 10 matches on a card, and like 4 of them are gonna have weird rule sets that they agreed upon beforehand. But
anybody ever do it?
Rule? They're calling it what they call it. They say it's the Rising MMA Challenger rules.
Yes.
Interesting.
Did you anybody get to see? So you saw the confessions. I don't know. Did you go beyond the confessions to find out more about Yushi, CJ?
No, I did not, because I mean, I assumed that they just found someone that they thought that Miota can beat.
Well, this guy actually has he's fought like over a dozen kickboxing matches apparently.
Oh,
so
maybe that's why Kota is training at a wrestling gym.
Well, don't forget in the confessions, Miyata did say, "I hope he doesn't get taken down." I don't know. That doesn't sound like a lot of confidence.
Well, yeah. So
I mean,
but the guy he's fighting, I just on his Instagram, looks like a model. Like all of his pictures just look like he's a model.
He's a fitness model. He's like, what do you call it? Yeah, like an Instagram influencer, I think, as well. Maybe he's a YouTuber. Like he's done stuff with Kana Azakura, as you saw in the confessions video. Yeah. By the way, I also don't think he's ever eaten a carb his entire life.
Yeah. Fashion, lifestyle, fitness, hair. That's how he describes himself.
And also 33, and he looks like he's 12. He looks.
I wouldn't go that far.
I mean, anybody have any thoughts on this match? I'm not so sure exactly what to consider about this match. Daniel Gizabeki, Eretz versus Baruto, and Sap versus Osunarashi were also the same amount of rounds. 3 rounds, 3 minutes.
Well, if you think about that, the Osunarashi Kentaro Bob Sap fight was pushed down from 5 to 3 because of exhaustion.
So the only way that this fight can really end, I think, is if Kota Miura wins by soccer kick. There's like no other finish that I can think of that like I will be like satisfied with.
Yes,
is he gonna do like a Fight Club style post-fight speech where he said he wanted to destroy something beautiful?
That'd be great.
I'm curious to know. I don't know if this has been announced, but is his dad gonna be there, King Kazu?
I mean, you'd think so, but
is that why it's the first one? Because then King Kazu can just leave and not.
I honestly think it's the first fight, because if you look at the rest of the card, I mean, where else are you going to put him? But every other fight on this card is absolutely like stars. He like sticks out like a sore thumb, kind of.
I kind of figured though that he'd be like the Fuji TV like kind of special because it's King Kazu's son, Well,
no, what they're going to do is do this fight. It's smart. What you do is you put this fight first, and if it's a good fight, you replay it later when it's live on Fuji TV when you got time to burn.
Yes.
Do we think it'll be a good fight, or is it kind of good?
Absolutely not. I mean, it could have like a really violent ending, so that'd be cool. But like, neither one of these guys are like super skilled fighters.
So will it be like bad good or bad? Oh,
That's what I'm saying. Like the best we can hope for is like bad good, where like one of them just obliterates the other one. But I don't expect like a back and forth war or anything.
You never know, though, guys. I mean, soccer kicks and grounded knees are allowed. That's partial superior rule set. So that brings the action. I mean, it's a little disappointing not allowing stomps.
Those are also like ending moves, though. Those aren't like, that was a crazy brawl where they soccer kicked each other 30 times.
I guarantee probably if somebody gets soccer kicked once in this face, once in this match, it's going to be over. The referee is jumping in. The referee's going to be, 2 0-0 fighters.
Can't have a soccer star soccer kicking people's heads off.
Come to think of it, I think I tweeted about this on the Rizin English language thread on Twitter about Kota basically misplacing him as an actor, because for some odd reason, when I tried to search for him on Google, all it popped up was Kota Miura, the 40-year-old actor, not Kota Miura, the 19-year-old son of a soccer legend. And when I tweeted out, he's an actor, this, that, and the third, thank goodness it's a special challenge match, I think I got misinterpreted by a Japanese fan. And, a lot of confusion. All I could do was say, "Uss," and keep going. But still, I think that now we're going to probably see in this particular fight, even though it's going to be 3 minutes by 3 rounds, even though it's going to have, at least in some way, special challenge, meaning what? Rizin's definition of amateur rules. I think we're going to probably see the real definition of what soccer players are capable of in the Rizin rule set. Yeah, because if you think about it, at least it won't be like, what the hell happened?
His dad was a soccer player.
Oh yeah, of course.
Oh, so he don't play like minor league soccer or anything? Is just his dad's famous?
Minor league soccer. The dude's one of the oldest men to play for. I mean, his father, King Kazu's father, is one of the oldest men to play for a top division anywhere in the world.
Yeah, but he's not part of a soccer team as well. It's just his father.
I think he was an amateur. I think he was an amateur.
He's like a pro soccer player.
Oh, okay.
But yeah,
he's only 19. He's only 19 years old, so.
Mm-hmm. But point of the matter is, at least this fight won't be as mesmerizingly bad as the Darren Williams versus Frank Gore fight was about 2 weekends ago. But still, though, hopefully this will be a fun way for the fans around the world, because this will be shown on Live Now Global internationally, especially in the United States and Canada. Hopefully this will be a launching point for brighter things to come for young Kota.
Or Yushi.
No, yep. Or Yushi too, even though he's like, 33 with an Instagram account? So what?
Hey, listen, that's YouTube and social media is Sakakibara's, those are a big measuring sticks for, how a lot of these fighters get booked.
See that his mom and dad are expected to be there ringside for his fight.
That's
there we go.
That's good to hear. But still, you can only measure so far off of social media. I mean, look at us, for instance.
But let's actually talk about real fights, the real meat of
the Grand Prix semifinals and reserve fight. Kai Asakura versus Kenta Takizawa here. Masaogi Kubo versus Naoki Inoue, and the reserve fight, Yuki Motoya versus Kentaro Masakiri, aka Yuko Hotamura. You want to go with the semifinals first, Andrew?
Well, here's my question. First to you, CJ. What to you will be the ideal final to you as a fan? Not like Sakaki Bar, whatever. What would you like the most? Who would you like to see most in the finals?
That's a good question. I mean, the easy answer is kind of like Naoki versus Kai, but I thought that's just because what we've been conditioned to expect. I think it'd be kind of fun if there was like an upset. So if it was like Naoki versus Takizawa, I feel like there'd be so much just like interest generated by Kai losing that'd be kind of fun to see what happens.
Though, and that if you saw the confessions video where they're talking to all of them, and Kai is like totally kind of just like
Dismissive.
shitting all over Kenta Takizawa, kind of like calling like a loser, and like really just shitting all over him, and
Well,
sorry, go ahead.
I'm kind of interested in that fight because, I mean, I don't know if it's like a character or if he's just really that dismissive. Because say what you want about Takizawa, he legitimately has knockout power.
Yes.
And Asakura is a striker. So, I mean, I wouldn't want to take it easy at all.
No, it's like I could definitely see Kai getting like knocked out because he's getting frustrated, as we saw in the Yamaniya fight, where he's just kind of like losing his, I guess, composure, and that's
Shu always tells me that there's like these like Kai Asakura, Rena, all these fighters for some reason like impose this pressure on themselves where they're like, I gotta be exciting, I gotta get the finish. And I feel like Kai, you definitely saw that during the Yamaniya fight, where he was like putting himself in unnecessarily dangerous situations trying to knock Yamaniya out. And that could cost him in the tournament.
It's because they're stars. They're the stars. Asakura Action Brothers are the stars. Reina is a star. So that's why they feel that added pressure to perform and have star-making performances, because they're the stars of the show, basically. And Drew, to answer your question,
yeah,
I would definitely like Kai to be in the final. Although I don't know if I want it against. I can't decide about the other semifinal if I want Hiramosa to win or Naoki to win. I mean, it's just that one's going back and forth of what I think would be the better final against Kai. But I'm definitely rooting for Kai. And then the reserve match is fantastic as well. I mean, that's a fantastic reserve match. I mean, and make sure we let the fans know this is a one-night GP final, the real way, like Almighty Pride FC way, where they fight semifinals and final on the same night. A one-night GP final, just awesome. Since I can't wait. This is going to be awesome. This is a great thing. Probably the most exciting thing one of the most exciting on this card. That's for sure.
So can we talk about how poor
reserve? First off, the reserve match sucks. The reserve match is absolute garbage.
Yes.
Look what they did to my boy. They made my boy tweet out a crying face on Twitter.
I saw that.
They hurt the gentlest soul in Rising's history, who's only fighting so his girlfriend can also fight in the promotion. They butchered my boy.
He doesn't get the Ota fight. He doesn't get the Ota fight.
Serious. I was like, what are you talking about?
He would have. First off, Shuto Watanabe should have been on this card. Whether it be, he should have been in the reserve match. But if they weren't going to have him in there, I would have forgiven Rising if they let him fight Ota, because Shuto Watanabe called out Ota. But the clear choice for the reserve match was Shuto Watanabe versus Imanari, because after they both lost their quarterfinal matches, they went and won another match. So they were the clear next in line to be back in the tournament. They'd earned their way back in. And I'm okay with Kintaro, but Yuki Motoya needs to get his ass out of this tournament. He got knocked out in like 20 seconds. He clearly doesn't belong there. He's already been finished by Naoki Inoue. I don't want to see that again if he somehow weasels his way back into the tournament. So Yuki Motoya needs to go chill.
CJ's rooting against.
I do agree with the Kintaro, because you can at least say that he has a fan base to like.
Yes, exactly.
To bring in the Osaka faithful. And like him against Watanabe would have been interesting. Listen, I wanted Imanari and Watanabe just like you, CJ. Yeah, really like the reserve. Here's the thing: if they want to have two reserve bouts, I'd be totally fine with that.
Yes,
it'd be like, yeah.
Why don't they have two reserve bouts? Exactly.
But yeah, like Kintaro versus Matoya. Because here's the thing: I think it's either going to be Matoya being knocked out, or Kintaro's going to get submitted. And it's kind of like I'm not looking forward to. It's not a compelling fight like at this point, especially.
And Yuki Motoya has to be one of the most uncharismatic fighters of all time.
Which one? Motoya?
Yeah. I get more fun watching Ueda in his corner yell at him through a blowhorn or that like megaphone thing he brings that he thinks like helps him with his coaching.
I mean,
so, I guess CJ's rooting for Kintaro.
Oh yeah.
It's just like, yeah, that it would have made sense to have Imanari. Well, now Imanari's doing the Abima like combat jiu-jitsu thing now. So I don't know if that was like in the way previously. And so
Well, weren't they both on the landmark
card
event?
just feels like a giant FU to Shuto Watanabe. They're like, we're gonna have you go out there, you're gonna win, and then we're gonna like promote you in the Rising Confession videos. And then we're not gonna put. If they're gonna put Kentaro in there, put him against Watanabe or Imanari. That's much more exciting to me than Motoya.
Mm-hmm.
I agree. The Watanabe and them, they just fought, and Watanabe and Imanari just fought in the landmark event, right? That was in November. Or was that October?
Yeah, that was November, right?
It was November.
Half
so
people on this card fought more recent than that.
Yeah, but I mean, well, they had Reina step up because she's a superstar over there, and so I mean, but Watanabe and Imanari, they're like, I mean, it was probably just too quick.
Are you trying to say that Shuto Watanabe is not the face of Rising? Because those are fighting words.
Not like Reina. Reina is a superstar, so that's why she was able to do the quick turnaround, and good on her for that. Thank her for that too as well. That's pretty cool of her. But that's probably why Watanabe and Imanari weren't on this card, is because of the too quick a turnaround from November.
CJ, you probably want.
I think it's because Deep likes Yuki Motoya, and Deep got Yuki Motoya into the tournament.
CJ, are you inwardly hoping that the worst final has to take place on Fuji TV, like Ogikubo versus Takizawa, and then suddenly the audience just dives?
Do they make like Sakakibara come out and commit Harikiri in the middle of the ring? Like if that happens, like he failed us.
Are you secretly hoping for that for this betrayal of Watanabe?
I'm all on the Naoki train. I want Naoki to go all the way and become a superstar and continue his incredibly awkward interviews.
Yes. And to check the
mic
every time.
What was that one interview where the guy asked Naoki, he was like, "Oh, what do you want to do after you're fighting?" He's like, "Maybe I'll work at a convenience store."
Oh yeah.
Who said
like,
that?
I'll go get a job at a 7-Eleven.
Confessions video. The confessions video. He said that like he felt sick during the entire press conference. Like, or like that he was
wasn't he saying he's like trying to had to take a shit or something? Like he wasn't feeling well.
Yes.
He's just probably nervous because all the attention. Well, they have like 40,000 something people tuning in to just a press conference. Crazy.
He's like sitting there, and Ogikubo is like, "I'm glad I'm fighting Naoki because I've wanted to fight him for so long because I feel that he stole my chance to fight in the UFC." And Naoki's just like, "No comment." I don't feel well. I'm not going to say anything.
Before no comment, he checks the mic. And I interviewed him. When I interviewed him, I asked him, "Why do you check the microphone every time you're handed a microphone?" Because I noticed that. And then when I think Shu mentioned that at one point, I was like, "That's true. He does that with every microphone that like he's handed." And apparently, like sometime in Deep, like he was handed a microphone and it didn't work. And he said he felt really embarrassed that he was speaking to a microphone that didn't work.
Was that the one time he gave like a really epic speech and nobody heard it, and now he just lives in regret?
And that's why he totally avoids it at this point.
Yes.
Chris,
I want the pandemic to be over so his sister can go over and be his manager. Like his sister can just hold the microphone and talk for him and escort him to the ring and everything.
Like an old school wrestling thing, right?
Yes, exactly. Yes.
Yeah, but wouldn't that be like a breach of contract because she is a UFC fighter?
No, because she's not fighting.
She can go second to him.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Well, in this case, when it comes down to the Rizin Japan Bantamweight Grand Prix, I think we all are in perfect agreement that Yuki Motoya should not be in this reserve. I mean, it would probably best go to somebody like Shuto Watanabe, but then again, Shuto's not that big of a star yet. So, you have to have somebody like the former 2-division Deep champion who the guy he lost the Bantamweight title to, and Victor Henry is about to debut for the UFC. But still, when it comes down to the other 4 men in this tournament, outside of Motoya and Kentaro, I would probably like to think that, we're destined to see a Kai Asakura versus Naoki Inoue fight in the finals, right?
That'd be cool.
Yeah, that's where I think we're all agreeing. That's probably what it's going. I mean,
seems like the favored outcome, but crazy shit happens.
Yeah,
That's
listen,
right. It's a tournament, unpredictability.
I don't know. Like, can Ogi Kubo, can he like prevent Naoki from like just like, if the only way that I could see him beating in a way just by like kind of like laying and preying on him. That's really
like he can like, is he going to try to like grind out a wrestling decision? But that also seems like not a smart tactic for a tournament to just have a super grinding battle in your first fight and then have to go fight.
Waste all of his gas.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nobody wants to have a lay and pray fight. Let's be real. But
that'll burn all of his gas tank up in the first fight. You don't want to do that. You got to.
Ogi Kubo he's got a huge gas tank.
Well, he'll also have several hours to recover.
Yeah.
Yeah. You'll have several hours to recover. But if you think about this, I think that a fight between Inoue and Asakura would be a hell of a lot more exciting than, say, Ogi Kubo versus Takizawa, because, I mean, as we all know, Ogi Kubo ain't really one for getting finishes, right?
The fight already happened, and it was not that exciting of a fight.
Well, I mean, if there's going to be a finish in the fight, it's clearly going to be Inoue finishing Ogi Kubo. I feel like Inoue is better on the ground. He's only got one knockout to his record, but I still think that's like
he's got plenty
because
of submissions, though.
Clearly a better striker than Ogi Kubo.
Yeah.
So if Ogi Kubo wins, it's because he grinds out of wrestling.
But still, what we're basically saying is Inoue versus Asakura is going to be the final, and Asakura is going to probably win because he wants to continue his redemption arc. And one thing about the Asakura story, I just seen an article from the Body Lock earlier this morning talking about, what Asakura's keys are to winning. And they mentioned a lot about the two fights that he lost in the Rizin ring against Manel Cape and Kyoji Horiguchi. And I think that if Kai Asakura wins this fight, I don't know if he's going to win the bantamweight title because that's currently Horiguchi's. And, in order for them to get the title back, they'll have to pry it from Horiguchi's cold, dead hands. But still, when it comes down to that, I think that if Asakura wins this tournament, if he wins this tournament, he is definitely going to be on the cusp of superstardom.
I know everybody wants to see Inoue and Kai. I kind of am secretly hoping for Inoue versus Takizawa, only because, I don't know, I'm bored of the Kai hype train at this point.
You don't like the Asakura Action Brothers? Come on, Drew.
Listen, it's like Jamie says, considering Rise's luck recently, Montoya is winning the GP. And that
I'd walk out of the arena. I'd get up and leave.
Oh my God! Imagine that. Imagine you see the thing come up and it's and you see it's the final is Inoue versus Montoya. CJ,
you just see me walking out of the arena hand in hand with Shuto, a single tear going down my face.
And with walking, you're in the middle holding hands of Shuto and
Hikaru. Yes. Let's go home.
Let's go home. I mean, because sorry, CJ, go ahead.
Well, I mean, when you think about this tournament, when it's the Okikubo versus Inoue, if it's a finish, it's Inoue. If it's a decision, it's probably because Okikubo wrestled it. I feel like the Kai Takizawa fight has a much higher likelihood of being finished in the first round. Whoever wins, it's probably going to be a first round finish. Now, if it is Kai versus Naoki in the finals, my thought process is before the Yamaniha fight, I always thought it was interesting to see how Kai would do against somebody who could take the beating. And we kind of saw in the Yamaniha fight that Kai kind of gets frustrated when the guy can take the beating. But I don't think he's going to have that problem against Naoki, because Naoki, I believe, if I remember, got stunned a little bit by Isuatari before he finished Isuatari, because that's why Isuatari kind of charged forward at him. And then at the end of the at the end of the Kintaro fight, I feel like Kintaro was kind of getting to Inoue and hitting him. And so I'm kind of interested to see how that fight will go, because I'm still interested to see how durable Naoki is.
And also, you don't forget, you have, even though it's going to be a few hours from the semifinals, if you still had already a fight, it's still
Plus,
unless it's
haven't Ogikubo, Inoue, and Kaisakura all like been breaking their hands like crazy in their fights recently?
Oh yeah, I feel like everybody's broken their hands in the GP. I feel like all the confession videos, like, oh, I broke my hand. Oh, I broke. That's all I'm hearing is from the fighters, that they just.
Well, I think Shu said there's actually as much as the Rizin glove is good that it stops eye pokes. It's not very well padded, like on this part right here, where like the boxer's break happens.
Yeah,
and he thinks that's why all these hand breaks are happening.
Oh, can they modify the glove for next year? Do you think that's an easy fix or no?
I mean,
probably
I'm
not.
sure it's an easy fix, but it's like, are they interested? Like, is it a top priority for them?
Oh yeah, broken hands are a menace. I remember that all the way back to when Fedor Emelianenko had to sit out for a while because of a broken hand right in the middle of his all-time greatest of all time run, basically. And so, I mean, broken hands is like I don't want to say it's an Achilles heel, but it's definitely a problem. It keeps the fighters out for a long, you know what I mean? It robs us of seeing awesome fighters when they actually break their hands and have to sit out for 6 months while it heals. So I think it'd be worth it to invest in adding. You said it's just right here, right? Just add a little additional padding.
Break.
Yeah, the boxer's break. Just add a little bit additional padding to prevent the boxer's break from happening. Try to prevent that, because, like I said, it just those stupid hand breaks take away great fighters from us for like 6 months at a time. So I think it'd be definitely worth it to invest in try to prevent the boxer's break from happening.
When you bring that up, CJ, now I'm thinking, if during Kai and Takizawa, will we see Kai grapple more, like, just because, or try to grapple it to a finish?
Smart. So you bring up a really good point. So Takizawa's weak point is obviously his grappling.
Yeah.
Does all Kai care about getting to the finals? Like, is he going to do a Mikuru versus Hagiwara and just be like, I'm just going to play it safe, wrestle this guy down. The fight that everybody's watching is later tonight. Nobody cares how I win this fight. Or is he going to go in there and be like, I need to get this guy out in 20 seconds and knock him out immediately?
And then it's funny. No, I think so. I know. I think that Kenta Takizawa was the only person who really hasn't been, I guess, deathly injured, or got like a hand broken or anything. He's the only one
dancing keeps him fit.
Oh, the dancing. Yes. Oh, yes. Imagine that's what the final. He wins the final, and that's like the final image on Fuji TV is just him doing his dance in the middle of the ring.
As the world burns.
Oh my God, that would be so embarrassing that, I think a lot of the international contingency, us included, would probably be rage quitting like a motherfucker just to see Takizawa dance on everybody's graves.
It would be like Ushiku beating Saito times 100.
Yes, exactly. Or it would be like the Russian perspective of the Miracle on Ice.
But I'm looking forward to this. I'm intrigued. Again, as Jamie said in the chat, this Rizin's year has been bonkers this year. So who knows? Like, if we don't know what's gonna happen, we're all thinking Inoue, Kai. I don't think, Kenta. I think Kenta has a high chance of actually making it to the final, especially if Kai, fights the same way he did in the Yamaniya fight. And then I think,
if Kenta wins, he's gonna be the only guy from the Osaka bracket left in the tournament, and he went all the way. That'll be crazy.
Oh yes, that's true. That's true. Also, don't forget as well that in the confessions video, Kai mentioned that he's lost all of his New Year's Eve fights the last 2 years.
Yeah. Oh, he shouldn't jinx himself then.
He said that he's
not the only guy on the poster. That it's Tenshin's turn.
Oh yes.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
They were smart. They didn't just put one person on this poster. I think they finally
They made a Tenshin only poster, and I think Jamie made a joke and added Gomi to it, so the Tenshin doesn't lose. Yeah.
Well, I'm looking forward to it. And I guess the winner of it will go on to face Kyoji. That's what I'm assuming. They get the million yen or whatever.
I don't think so. I don't think that'll happen. I think the Bellator has announced they have their own tournament coming up, and I think Kyoji's much more interested in getting the win back against Sergio Pettis.
Yep.
And fighting Bellator. With him living in the U.S., you don't know when he's going to be able to come back to Japan. So I think that aspect of the tournament kind of disappears.
Okay. Oh, okay. Oh, well, do you think
Plus, when you think about it, I mean, considering the fact that Kyoji's going to be busy with Bellator for the next year or so, who knows if he's even going to defend that bantamweight title at all?
Might just vacate it, or I think. Probably.
Well, remember the Bellator collaboration deal with Epic Rizin with in regards to Kyoji Horiguchi is that, he's in their tournament, but remember part of the deal was he gets to have like a fight a year in Rizin in Japan, right? That was part of the deal. So when would that be? Would that be after the tournament's over with, or how would that work?
It would
probably have to be after Kyoji's first round fight in the Bellator Bantamweight Grand Prix.
Oh, hell no. It's got to be after the tournament, because I don't know how they're going to structure the tournament. Like, he can't just come in and then if he comes into Rizin, he gets injured, then they have to pull him out of the tournament. I don't think they're going to, it's going to be after the tournament.
I think that the Rizin is trying, in an effort to save face, Rizin is trying to make it seem like Bellator didn't take Horiguchi, and they're just being like, we collaborate. They say that Horiguchi can come fight for us sometimes, but Scott Coker, I think, also said in interviews like it's going to be difficult for him to go over there with the tournament going on.
Oh yeah.
Also, if he becomes champion, I don't think you're going to see a lot of cross promotion collaboration. So,
you never know.
I think by all effect, I think he's legitimately a Bellator fighter who, because Bellator has a relationship with Rizin, he can fight for Rizin as well, but Bellator has priority.
CJ, you can continue on the Shuto Watanabe sadness train, because we'll have to talk about the fight that he wanted, but he didn't get. And somehow Kazuma Sone got
because they knew he'd beat him. They knew that Watanabe would make Ota 1 and 2.
1 and 2. That fight is so the Kuba fight was so pitiful that like it's basically it was an easy win. I would even hesitate to call that an actual win. But I guess this is a thanks for taking the kickboxing fight of Koji. As maybe is it? I don't know. I don't know what the point of this fight is. Do you?
I think they want to build Ota up because Ota is an Olympic wrestler, and they wanted to get him big. And this is them for being like, sorry, we made you lose to Tokoro. Here's a chance to get back another win, so you can have more wins than losses.
And he can still potentially lose because Sone's an MMA fighter, long-time MMA fighter.
But I think they're also being like, he's been finished and lost a majority of his fights recently. So hopefully I think they're thinking he's on his downward spiral, like a tailspin.
Listen, if they wanted to put an easy win, they should have just called up Yusaku Nakamura and just have him come in. I think
it should have been Ursin Yamamoto versus Ota. I'll still maintain.
Okay.
That would have been a good matchup. But is Ursin over here in America or no? Is he over there in
he's a crazy bee hanging out with his girlfriend, Itsuki Hirata. One championship fighter.
Is he still available for Rizin fights, or is he under contract with somebody else?
No. I think he's just taking like a training role.
That'd be a good fight CJ brought up for the future. Ota versus Ursin. That'd be good. JLK on the YouTube chat is basically saying skip this fight.
Yeah, that's why they're having it so early, I think, because they kind of don't know if it's going to be a good fight. It's kind of like just get it out of the way.
I am going to have to go to the bathroom eventually, so this might be the get up and go to the bathroom fight.
Hey, is it being fought on a Spirit rule set? Is it full Rizin rule set?
Oh yeah.
No, that's not a bathroom, bro. That's not a bathroom break fight, folks. You don't want to miss a superior rule set fight.
Actually, Jamie even goes further. He says this is a trigger fight at best.
Oh, you mean so it's gonna be the most violent fight of the card?
He's not wrong though. I mean, if you look at Sone, what is he like? Lost like his last 7 out of his last 8 fights. It's like
I think he's lost.
To say he's on a rough patch is like an understatement.
I don't think he's ever won a fight in Rizin, if I'm correct.
No, he's no. Every single fight in Rising, he's lost.
Well,
his only win is over Ishihara, who is just like super high on weed and waddles the ring between orgies. That guy is like barely training and is a shell of himself. So like that win doesn't even count.
And well, I guess, since neither of them have, I guess Ota does have a win. I was about to say he doesn't have a win. I mean, so is this how does Sone win this and stop his Rizin shitty streak? I would have to assume so. I just don't know what is Ota gonna do, like other than take him down for 3 rounds.
That's what he's gonna do. I think we're just gonna see the Kubo fight over again.
Well, it depends on what Oto's been training. If he's been training stomps, because I remember his fight where he had the guy on his back. I could read his mind. He was thinking stomp, but he just didn't have the technique to do a flying stomp. So hopefully he was trained by like Reina or somebody, because Reina had the perfect flying stomp and won her fight.
I'll tell you why that nobody gives a shit about this fight. I'm looking at the amount of people watching, and the number is going down. So nobody really gives a shit about this fight.
Hey, I do. That's one person.
You're gonna be the only person that's gonna be watching this fight with bated breath.
This fight is so that I can go to the bathroom before 2 of the most wonderful YouTube personalities in the world make their way to the ring.
Now watch this fight's gonna have the most violent finish of the whole night. It's gonna be a flying stomp KO of the year.
That'll be funny. That'll be funny. Like, just like that's the type of Rizin way to like for this fight to go. Daniel Juzebeki, he says, don't you think that Sone derailed Ishihara's way to Rizin?
Yes,
probably.
I think they wanted him, but Ishihara, I don't know the guy, but it just seems like if you follow him on social media that he's barely training. He seems to be having a really good time, and I think his career is clearly over. But they were interested in him because he had a name and he fought in the UFC.
And I think that would have been his. So he had the fight with Sony. That was his post UFC fight, I believe.
It was in Shuto, and then I think he had another fight in the US that he won by split decision, or was it a draw? No, I think he had a draw. He had a draw in the US because Japanese Twitter was roasting Ishihara about it. Yeah, they had a draw. It was a split draw, and all the Japanese fans were saying, he's broke his losing streak. He's finally not lost a fight. He made it to a draw. So I mean, that's what we're looking at.
Okay, I'm interested in getting the audience back into this podcast. So let's move on to an actual real fight here. I want to ask you, CJ. This is totally yours. Tell us how much you're gonna love this fight.
Well, one of my favorite aspects about Japanese MMA, Rising in general, is I'm a sucker for a good ring entrance. I was raised on wrestling as a kid, and I just love the whole. And this is going to deliver it for me. I feel like this is going to be the entrance of the night. Last year, Shibatar came out with his army of YouTubers and did a hilarious dance, and then he beat Hiroya in kind of a giant upset. Kubo, on the other hand, his wife is already doing a mini tour. I think she's going to random train stations and playing the acoustic guitar outside of them. And there's no way that she doesn't sing as part of the entrance of his. I mean, I think she was even saying in YouTube that the reason this fight got made, she booked the fight. So I'm all about it.
Booked a fight, does she mean that she's the one? Obviously, I don't think she booked a fight, but was she like, hey?
I think she's saying she is the one that got it put together, but I think it's just part of her character.
Probably.
I love the gimmick. I love the gimmicks. I will say, I think Shibatar, his gimmick is kind of getting old with some of the more hardcore fans. And I think everyone I know is rooting for Kubo to win because they're kind of tired of Shibatar at this point. Because,
oh man,
I'm just saying on the Japanese perspective, him beating Hiroya was like catching a star, like a shining star. That was an insane moment that Rising didn't think that was going to happen. That's absolutely nuts. And then it's kind of this weird situation where he's kind of been on the sidelines for a year, and people have been talking about it so much that I think they're kind of tired of it.
So what do you think about them announcing this fight instead of doing like Shibatar versus X? Like, do you think? I don't know. Like,
well, did you get the impression that Sakibara was kind of pissed at Shibatar because he was like talking? This was the press conference where Sakibara had like a 40-minute intro that was infuriating. He's like, before I talk about the fights on the card, I'm going to complain about how Koji and Shibatar talk about making the fight on Twitter and YouTube and complain about how much money they're getting paid. Like, you shouldn't do that. And like, that should have been the end of the conversation, but he went on for like 40 minutes. So I thought it was kind of extremely boring.
There has been.
I think he got upset. He got upset, right? Shibatar was getting paid. I think Shibatar got paid $50,000 for his last fight. And so he was complaining that he got paid he wasn't going to do it again for $50,000. He wanted more money, which I completely agree. Shibatar delivered way more than $50,000 worth of value in his last fight. So he deserves more money. So I agree with that. But it was this weird thing that Sakakibara, we'll talk about it later with the Gomi fight, where Sakakibara has been like throwing people under the bus recently. And I don't necessarily agree with what he's doing, because I kind of agree with every point the fighters are making. Like, Shibatar is like, yeah, you should pay me more money. This is going to be on national television. And it's like, yeah, I kind of agree. And then Sakakibara is mad that a guy didn't move up a weight class on last minute notice to fight the best kickboxer in the world. So we'll get that later.
Do you think that Shibatar, this is the last time we get the Shibatar New Year's Eve thing for Rizin?
Depends if he wins or loses. If he loses, I think it'll go away.
Really? Oh man, don't say that.
Even his own comments, he's already said like he's an older guy. He doesn't think he can do. Shibatar is not young.
He's in his mid-30s, right?
Well, let me see.
He's not 35.
36.
Oh, he's 36. Okay, well,
so he's for a fighter. He's an older guy.
Yeah,
and he's not dumb. He's like, he realizes this is a brilliant way to launch his YouTube platform, and I think he just wants to do this a couple times because, I mean, he could get hurt really badly because he's not like full on training like these guys he's fighting. Kubo may be smaller than him, but Kubo hits really, really hard. And it'll be interesting to see what happens.
So this is an MMA. This isn't like the Hiroya fight where it was like mixed.
Right.
This is going to be an actual MMA match.
Correct.
Oh, nice.
And Shibatar's got to be significantly bigger than Kubo.
Oh yeah, no, I'm assuming that probably Kubo's not going to be cutting, so probably he's going to maybe be the same. Will he be the same weight as Hiroya potentially?
So, do you think this has the potential to be, because I mean, it's the same thing. Like, the first one was so good. Like, the first fight with Hiroya was so good. Does this have the potential just to be like Shibatar getting on top of Kubo and Kubo can't get out?
Well, we saw with what happened with the Ota fight, and like just okay, Ota, Olympic level wrestler, but Shibatar, fat guy, whatever.
But in his defense, I think Shibatar will try to make it. I think Shibatar will try to make it fun, because you saw him when he fought. He like ran the ropes. He did a bunch of stuff to keep it interesting and fun. And I think he knows, like, I'm not going to be an MMA champion. I'm here to get views for my YouTube channel.
Yeah, and you know what? I hope if he wins, I hope he calls out Jake Paul and says, "I'm the king of YouTube, Jake, not you. Let's go." And that could be a future Rizin matchup right there.
What is Jake Paul going to come shoot more footage of the suicide forest in Japan? Is he getting a lot of trouble for that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Was it Logan? Logan. I don't know which one.
They're the same person to me. But this fight's going to be, but the entrance-wise, this fight's going to be awesome. I think that it has potential to maybe be a boring fight, but I don't think that'll happen, because I think Shibatar understands the entertainment value of it, and he's going to try to make it as fun as possible.
So on a meme level, do you think this will reach the same meme status as Hiroya from last year?
I mean, that was such a unicorn. How do you surpass that fight? That fight was amazing. The best analogy would be that's like back when Dream did the mixed rules matches. That's kind of like the Gianotsu versus Shinya Aoki fight, where Gianotsu where Shin Aoki ran around and avoided him the entire kickboxing round. And once the MMA round started, everyone thought Shin Aoki was going to smash Gianotsu, and Gianotsu nailed Aoki with a flying knee and knocked him out. Like mixed. After that, there's going to be no mixed rule that's going to be as exciting as that fight. I think they tried it again the following year, Gianotsu versus Kikuno, which was still a fun fight, but just wasn't the same. And I think that might be the same here.
What do you think? Do you think that we're gonna have the? You think Sarah Kubo will be? They're gonna have her on the what do you call it? Like on the.
They have to. There's got to be a Sarah cam. I want this. I want the corner, like the view and view. I want the camera and camera of Sarah watching the fight. I mean, wasn't she screaming crazy stuff last fight? Like, die in the ring, die in the ring, kill him. So yeah, I'm all about it.
JayWolf, I'm assuming you are looking forward to this.
Oh yeah, you know I am. The Shibatar Samurai is coming out to take another scalp again. And this is, dude, I'm telling you, I cannot wait. The guy is a performer. He brings the eyeballs from his YouTube channel. I mean, like I said, I want him to. I'm rooting for him to win, to get on the mic and call out Jake Paul and say that no, the Shibatar Samurai is the king of YouTube fighters, not you, Jake. Let's go. So, I mean, I'm just looking forward to it. Like CJ said, the walkout's going to be fantastic, and you know, who knows that they're going to have the cameras on Mrs. Kubo. So, you know, it's got something for everybody, and it's going to be real. I think it's going to be entertaining. It might not surpass the level of Shibatar's debut versus Soroya. It might not be as good as that, but it's still. I think it's going to be good. CJ is 100% correct. Shibatar is an entertainer. He understands what's going on. It's just it's under the full superior rule set of Rizin, right? There's no special rules about it. It's full. Oh wait, it says custom rules. What does anybody know what the custom rules are for it?
CJ, do you know anything about that? Like, what are they doing that's going to be like making it?
Isn't this the one where it can't go to a decision?
Well, I thought last year it went to a decision. If it went to a decision, it was a no contest.
I think that's what this is as well. I think the rules are that it can't go to a decision.
So
but is it still under?
You can only win. You can only win the fight by a knockout or a submission.
But does it allow stomps and soccer kicks and grounded knees? The full Rizin superior rule set.
Let me check.
I believe so.
Okay, but if it does, then the violence potential is there. The excitement level is there, and with Shibatar in there, I think it's going to deliver. And, you know, Kubo is no joke either. Just because he's a kickboxer crossing over, the guy knows how to fight. And I mean, I think it's going to be good. If it's under the full superior rule set with just the stipulation that there has to be a winner or whatever, then it's going to be exciting. Believe me, the epic Rizin superior rule set, you've seen the action. The fighters getting more and more acclimated to it. It's bringing the action almost every event. The Rizin Trigger event that just happened was the most spectacular, one of the events of the year with this regional level talent. And that just happened. I mean, so I'm expecting fireworks. What I'm expecting. I can't wait. It's going to be fun.
Let's see if anybody, so Daniel, typical weight difference rules about grounded knees, I'm not so sure entirely. They might just announce what the rules are the day of.
No, I'm having like a moment because I remember reading. Because I remember someone asked me, and I was interested, and I looked at what the rules were. I just can't remember. I do have like a distinct impression that you can't win the fight unless you get finished.
Okay,
that's kind of cool. That's kind of cool. So it's a must finish fight. That's kind of cool.
How do you so do we think that it will go to a finish?
It's got to. See, they just said the rules are it's got to go to a finish, or it's going to be this. I guarantee it's probably guaranteed to be a finish. Bet you anything. Shibatar is going to go for it, and it's either going to be him submitting him or Kubo is going to catch him and knock him out. It's going to be awesome.
Kubo. I mean,
Kubo's a pro fighter, pro kickboxer, right?
But this is MMA. Don't forget.
Yeah, very, very strong kickboxer.
He's a very strong kickboxer.
If this was kickboxing, if this was kickboxing, I would maybe have a different tune. This is a full an MMA fight.
MMA fight, and Shibatar is much bigger. Like maybe not height wise, but like he's fat and bigger.
He's thicker. Okay. Well, still, Kubo's a pro fighter, and the kickboxing crossovers they have shown that they cross over well to MMA sometimes. So, I mean, Kubo's a pro fighter, so Shibatar he's going to have to come in there ready for a fight. It's not going to be just some walk in the park for him. So, I mean, and you guys are saying that the rule set is it's got to go to a finish or it's a draw or whatever. So that, I mean, they're going to be going for it. And if it's under the full superior rule set where it allows stomps and soccer kicks and ground and knees, everything, dude, the violence potential, the action potential is there. It's going to be fun. I can't wait.
Yeah, I have it. I have the special rules. So
Okay.
it is 2 rounds, 3 minutes apiece.
Two
No
rounds.
decision. Only
No
a
decision.
KO or a submission can decide the win.
Nice.
And
And so-
although there is a weight difference of 15 kilograms or more, Kubo has selected to allow attacks to the head and the feet while on the ground and in a grounded state. So soccer
Nice.
kicks and knees are still allowed.
Excellent.
So the normal, as Daniel was guessing, the normal like big guy rules aren't applying. The only difference is that you can only win by KO or submission. The round time limits are shorter, and the only way to win by decision is if you get a penalty and a point taken away.
Mm.
So if you get like a red card, you can lose that way.
Oh, okay. Jamie says, as a Masaki Nori fan, Kubo deserves all the embarrassments.
Well, I mean, he's already like been portrayed as like a simp / cuck on YouTube.
Yeah.
So I think he's getting embarrassed quite a lot.
Wait, doesn't he have a smoking hot
Yes, he has a smoking
wife?
hot.
Kubo has a smoking hot wife, right?
Yeah.
He's winning. He's already won. He's already won. So,
Well, I mean, this is also the wife that was like publicly saying on Twitter that she was looking into getting into porn, and then he was like asking people on Twitter advice for how to not to get her to do it. So he also has a pet monkey and he drives a Ferrari. So
What is the
I want
most?
the YouTube content to keep coming.
Well, here's the thing: you with a loss or a win, it doesn't matter for Kubo. Like there is YouTube content to be made regardless of the outcome of this fight.
But if he loses this, he'll have lost all of his fights in Rising so far, correct?
Yeah, you could, but you could say Shibatar was 15 kilograms. I don't know how much that is in pounds, but whatever, how many pounds
It's like
heavier?
33.
Oh, damn. Okay,
He's more than 33 pounds heavier than him.
33 pounds heavier. And then you could then maybe
This fight is at 90 kilo. What did Kubo used to fight at?
I think it was 145. That was his last fight, I think.
Yeah, so I mean, there's a giant weight difference in this fight.
I mean, I'm intrigued, but again, I don't know how this. I don't know if this will be the same lightning in a bottle as versus Hiroya from last year. I am more curious about the antics that are going to be going on inside the ring than the actual fighting.
Like, I don't know if it's going to be as good a fight as last year, but it's still going to be fun. But I mean, how do you beat the perfect fight? It's still going to be a lot of fun. I just don't think it'll eclipse that. That's not a bad thing. That just happens when it's the first time that it happens and it's so good. It's going to be hard to reproduce that.
yeah, agreed. Totally.
Anything else to say about this fight? I don't have. I guess what is the craziest way that Shibatar can win? He knocks out Kubo.
Yeah.
He does the same thing that he did against Hiroya, and he knocks out his teeth. Because remember during the Hiroya fight, Shibatar punched out Hiroya's teeth.
Yeah, dropped him and everything. That was the debut of K1 Shibatar.
Oh, Jamie says that Kubo was a K1 welterweight champion before he left. Is that welterweight though? Is it the same? Are we talking like kickboxing welterweight? I mean, like weight. I don't know if the weights are the same in K1. So I don't know if welterweight is. That's actually like 170. Which it would be here. I think it is. I think it is. No, he's like 5'9". That would be small for 170. Unless I'm entirely wrong about that.
The K1 welterweight 67.5.
That's about 145 ish, right? Yeah.
It says this fight on the Tapology page says it's at 198.
It's at 67.5. It's like 148 pounds.
Okay.
Around 150 pretty much.
Okay. Well, I mean, 60. Oh yes. So I mean, I guess hopefully Kubo doesn't get his teeth knocked out like Hiroya. I think that Kubo is a better kickboxer than Hiroya, in my personal opinion.
Well, Hiroya definitely had. You can argue about that, but Hiroya definitely had more of a decline
yeah,
near the end of his career.
yeah,
And let's not forget that he is Taiga's brother, so they're going to lose every fight they're supposed to win and win every fight they're supposed to lose. So
I know. That's the curse of try hard. That's the curse of the try hard gym.
But I would love nothing more than, I know Jamie's going to a Kubo win, and then like a Kubo Shibatar rivalry where they have a rematch later down the road.
Kome Day also says that Shibatar can't weigh more than 198. So
okay. That's where the 198 came from.
I mean, that's still, coming in if he comes in at 198, that is still a lot.
A lot bigger. He's going to be, I mean, the rising rules say that he's going to weigh 30 pounds, over 30 pounds more.
I know. And just, just taking a grounded knee or a soccer kick like that way.
But I do think Shibatar has done some of those fights on Mikuru's 1 minute fight challenge videos on YouTube. And Shibatar can get dropped. He gets dropped sometimes. So I think if Kubo cracks him, he's going to go down.
But is he going to do like what he did with Roy, where he was almost like
I hope so. I loved it. I loved every second of it. I want it. I need it.
Is he going to try for a drop kick or some? Yeah, does Kubo even know? I hope Kubo knows what he's getting into, because this is not going to be like the Ota fight.
Oh, I want everything. I want it to be. I think it's got the right it's got the right ingredients to make a wonderful. This is when people say freak show fights. This is what we want. This is the type of fight that I'm interested in.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun.
Yeah. Let's go on to the sole kickboxing match of the show, the one that disappointed all of us when it was announced, because we expected something else. Koji and Yaman. So what does everybody think about this? I know the kickboxing fans apparently are more excited for it than I am.
I think kickboxing fans are excited about it because it's going to be just essentially a boxing match between two aggressive guys in a kickboxing ring. So, I mean, that sounds exciting, but it does seem slightly out of place. But I mean, Koji's a huge star, so you got to put him on the card, and it should be a fun fight. And plus, I mean, say what you will about Koji, his fights do tend to be exciting. And I think as he's getting older and he's kind of his skills going down a little bit, he's brawling more. So it could be fun.
How many headbutts from Koji in this fight?
Yeah. I don't think he does it that much, maybe 7 or 8 times.
In the first round? Or
yeah,
total?
Exactly. Yeah. And then Taiju comes out of nowhere to give him another lecture about how he needs to stop headbutting people.
Are you looking forward to this, JayWolf?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Like you said, Koji's a huge star over there. And Yaman, we just saw Yaman on a recent Rizin event where he had a badass knockout, right? So
the Rise fight with Nakamura. Yeah, no, that fight was great.
It was on Rise. It wasn't on a Rizin card. Okay, yeah, but it was recently where he had a badass knockout, right? Or it was a badass fight.
It was a badass fight. He knocked down Khan Nakamura in the first round and basically battered him for about 3 rounds. And
because I remember his name Yaman for sure from that event, because it was a lot of fun. So I mean, I'm definitely looking forward to this. I saw the same thing you were seeing, Drew, and fans talking about, the kickboxing fans are looking forward to this one because it's supposed to be a good fight. So I'm looking forward to it too. I'm expecting fireworks just like they are, and I hope it delivers for all the J Kick fans that are tuning in, and for the regular fans that are tuning in as well. But like you were saying, we're mixed martial arts guys. We're not J Kick experts, but we're definitely looking forward to this, and it should be pretty good, pretty fun match, because both guys are excellent fighters. So
can we talk about the fact that during the press fight conference,
I know what you're gonna say.
Guy's name is Yaman, and Koji kept calling him Pimon, which means green pepper in Japanese. And he even put a pepper on his hand, his finger. It was it seemed so forced. He's just I'm okay, green pepper. Okay, it's
do you see what he did?
An insult? It's a weird thing to say.
Did you see? He rips it off his finger and bites into it at this weigh-in. That was so funny.
It's just so weird. Like, I don't know if I'd feel insulted if somebody called me green pepper. I'd just be like, I'm so confused about why you're calling me that.
He had a green pepper on his middle finger and he was flicking them off. And he grabs the pepper off his finger and bites into it. I thought that was so great. That was funny.
I mean, that wasn't the best of Koji's trash talk in his history. Probably the weakest.
It seemed like real weak. Like the best to me was like in Rising World was the wearing the mask of Takeru.
Oh yeah, that was
Tenshin.
I did like the
wearing the Mayweather mask to mock Tenshin.
Oh yeah.
I like the one where he handed Taiju the suitcase and said you could carry my bags or whatever because you carry Tenshin's bags. I like that.
The green pepper was funny, but it also seemed like incredibly forced. It's like your name rhymes with green pepper. I brought a green pepper.
Well, hey, it's hard to make bangers after banger when it comes to pre-fight hype like that. So he still gets an A for effort in my book.
But I mean, like, so what are the chances of Koji winning this? I mean, if we're talking about decline, I think definitely Koji has been on a decline since leaving K1. Is he gonna lose this one? Do you think? Is he just kind of his best years behind him?
I don't know. I'll leave it up to you guys. Like I said, I'm not a J-Kick expert. I'm just hoping for a good fight. So it's whatever you guys think.
I mean, I'm not an expert either, but my general impression would just be that, I mean, Yaman's younger. He's been competing against higher level kickboxers more recently and been doing well. And Tanaka struggled in his last, Koji struggled in his last fight. I mean, it was an exciting fight, but the guy he fought was an MMA fighter, right? He fought Sone, right?
Yeah.
And I thought that was like a pretty competitive fight throughout most of it. So I think it kind of shows the decline a little bit.
I definitely feel and Yaman is an incredibly aggressive guy. And I don't know, like, will Koji be able to will he be able to stand up to this aggression of that?
He's going to use that aggression, and Yaman's going to run right into a headbutt and knock himself out.
No contest.
That's how you fight.
No, it's a tournament. It's a tournament. So Koji has to be moved along and forget this fight ever happened.
Listen, I mean, I guess, the hope, that this is like an exciting fight, or as much as an exciting fight as Koji can put on at this point. I hope that, I don't know. I just,
No, it should be exciting because they both like to fight. So it should be fun.
Well, Koji, I think Daniel says it best. This will be a good test for Koji's chin. I think that's definitely what this fight's going to be about. Because
Koji doesn't seem like a guy that sticks and moves.
Oh no, Yaman is Yaman is gonna, like, if Koji's gonna be technical, Yaman's gonna be just like
all over
brawling. It's gonna be all over him. Jamie says if Koji does have a good chin, if it goes past the first, he has a shot. And Daniel says Koji thrown 4 headbutts in his last 4 fights. So I guess when I'm gonna plan to like write up a whole entire Rizin 33 drinking game on the day of the show, and one of them is gonna definitely be every time that Koji connects with a headbutt, you have to drink. Because I think that should
be like to finish your drink. You gotta finish your drink. If
you'll make the end of the card if you do that. You'll be passed out by intermission.
Is it kind of so? Are you surprised that they didn't do Koji versus Taiga? Because I heard Taiga at Rise said that he wanted Koji, and I think Koji even said himself he wanted Taiga.
Yeah, that seemed like the more fun fight to make, but you never know what's happening. I mean, with the last minute aspect of how these fights are getting slapped together, I think it's just who's literally available at this moment.
It does seem like, I really thought they're going to do Koji versus Taiga. And
I thought they were going to do Tenshin versus Taiga, to be honest.
Yeah. God, like Taiga must be kicking himself like that. The one fight he's been wanting to have his entire career, and it just will never happen. Poor Taiga. Sorry, as I'm trying to get to the next slide, which will be. Oops, sorry.
It's our boy.
Oh yes. Okay. Oh, there we are. Kyoei Hagiwara, Hiroaki Suzuki. Did you see the confessions video for this? CJ?
Of course.
We got two fucking psychopaths here.
Suzuki's a crazy man. Suzuki's an absolute psycho, muscle-bound, crazy person. And let's not forget Team Bonsai. Team Bonsai.
Oh yeah, well yeah. There's I wonder if he'll have a new Team Bonsai member make an appearance.
Yeah, he's gotta be ready.
Jamie says that just to talk about the Yaman fight. So Yaman might be too aggressive for his own good. That's possible. That's possible. But
he's not too aggressive for the fans' own good.
Exactly. That's what matters.
Yeah.
But I think this, if we're gonna talk about aggression, I don't see this fight going beyond the first round. That's my personal belief.
Yeah, this fight goes one of two ways, right? Suzuki either blasts and knocks out Hagiwara, or I mean, one of them either knocks each other out, or Hagiwara does what he did against Hiramoto and tries to wrestle fuck Suzuki into the ground. But as we have also known, Hagiwara is maybe the worst wrestler of all the MMA fighters to have ever existed. So,
but is Suzuki that smart to just do, or you think he's going to even recognize to do that in this fight? Or because, like, I mean, I don't know. He doesn't seem like the type of guy that would do that.
I mean, Hagiwara?
No, Suzuki.
Well, Suzuki's not going to wrestle at all. I mean, Suzuki's a former shoot boxing champion that went over into kickboxing and won. Like, so I mean, he's going to have some grappling, but I mean, it's not going to be anything that he's going to lean into. He's going to try to knock out Hagiwara. And Suzuki is so freakishly strong. He's going to have a significant strength advantage going into this fight as well. You got to think.
What do you? I mean, what do you think about this? This is the fight I'm looking forward to the most.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure someone will get knocked out, and I'm pretty sure it's gonna be the first round.
So do you think Hagiwara is going to try to ground and pound Suzuki?
I think so. He said that, it's another chance to like beat up another kickboxer trying to come into MMA. So we saw what happened with the Ren Hiramoto fight.
Now, it was kind of a bullshit fight, but in Suzuki's first fight, the guy was like an accomplished amateur wrestler that tried to take him down.
He was also a pro wrestler.
No, but I think he also came from before that. He was an amateur wrestler. So the guy like had wrestling chops that was trying to get him down. And that guy's got to be a better wrestler than Hagiwara.
It's possible. I mean, I don't think. Well, I don't. The only way this fight goes to the ground, I think, is somebody gets knocked down to the ground. I don't think either fighter is gonna really bring this fight to the ground. I guess voluntarily.
Do either of them have judo? Are either of them judo people? Judo guys?
I don't think.
Are you asking if they're judo guys or if we're judo guys?
No. If Hagiwara or Suzuki, either one of them have any judo skills.
Well, the weird thing about it
skills, we might like a judo trip. Oh, go ahead.
The weird thing about Suzuki is he does have a shoot boxing background, and shoot boxing's so weird because it has throws and takedowns. It's like kickboxing with throws and takedowns, but most like 98% of the people that do it, it's just kickboxing. So. You never know, but he's probably trained some. But I mean, he's training at Team Bonsai. I think he's the one that taught Koike the elbow that he used to mess up Mikuru's face.
Oh, nice.
I think Hagiwara is just going to try to repeat what he did against Hiramoto, like what Drew was saying. But Suzuki is so much physically stronger than Hiramoto. He might be able to muscle out of some initial takedowns, and he might be able to land some big shots because, I mean, he's older. He's in his late 30s and maybe on a slight decline in his kickboxing, but he still hits really, really hard. And he's crazy. I think he's crazy enough. Like, unlike Kubo, who is like hesitant, I don't think Suzuki's going to like hesitate about a takedown. I think he's going to throw, which might hurt or help him.
Can we talk about like Hagiwara's year has been like kind of like other than the Mikuru loss, like been like quite a year, and he's the turnaround as well. I think his eye is still fucked up. I think that eye is always going to be fucked up.
When I saw him at the Deep show, he had definitely still had a mark around his eye.
I really? Think, yeah, it's whatever. It's like right here, and I think is that just gonna be like a forever injury for him? That's gonna be like his like Harry Potter scar or something. Like that's just gonna follow him around. But I mean,
Well, how many weeks has it been since his last fight? He headlined the Trigger event that just happened in November, right? That was when his eye was messed up. Wasn't that Trigger event? That was like November 28th. That was right around Thanksgiving. So
no, it was November 28th. So I mean,
it was after Thanksgiving. Okay, yeah, you're right.
So he's having like a month between fights.
Right. So his eye, if it was really messed up, it'll still be a little bit messed up, but maybe it's had enough time to heal. But I mean, Hagiwara is a sensational fighter. He cherried that Rizin Trigger event. He was the main event, and he had a sensational performance, a sensational knockout that just cherried the entire event and made it one of the most violent events of the entire year. A clear event of the year candidate. So I'm with Drew. I'm looking forward to this fight a lot. Suzuki, CJ was saying, big, strong guy, crossover kickboxing, and Hagiwara is just a rising star, young, action-packed. Both fighters, just action-packed fighters. I mean, this is going to be a really good fight. And is this one? No. This is two more till the before the intermission, before the quote unquote main card, right? Or no?
I could be I guess. Well, no. If Hagiwara comes out shirtless, probably won't make the Fuji TV. Now if he comes out with like a something to like block out the tattoos or something, maybe it'll be on the Fuji TV. But I doubt it. I don't think it will be.
Then he's going to have to put on a nice performance and be action packed to where it forces him to put him on the Fuji TV card. Then
I don't think he has the same. I guess not consideration, but Kintaro will be like, yeah, I'll wear it, and then but like I think for both Ren and Hagiwara, when they both fought, they refused to wear like any coverings for their tattoos. So probably the same thing as well for this one.
Oh, well, it's still going to be a great fight. Either way, it's going to be a lot of fun. I mean, they're both action-packed fighters, and Hagiwara's coming off of a just sensational performance, so he's looking to close out the year big. So this fight has fireworks written all over it. It's going to be really fun. I can't wait.
Just want to also say, unfortunately, we lost Chris due to technical difficulties, but he's with us in the chat. So Chris, feel free to sound away.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, if we're going to talk about definitely knockouts, I think the next fight will definitely have a big knockout. And as soon as I get that,
it's the big boy fight.
Yeah, the big boy fight. Shrek and Shoma Shibisai. Speaking of Team Bonsai as well, we got Shrek from Team Bonsai. I don't know why they call him a grappler. I think only 3 fights have been won by submission. But CJ, what do you think about this? And does Shrek have any chance to win?
Can we just briefly talk about like how Shoma Shibasai has like slid under the radar as like the most successful heavyweight in Rising?
Yes, I know. It's so funny.
But I mean, my question about Shibasai's last fight against Sidario, I mean, it looked to me like he was clearly injured. Like he clearly had some type of leg injury in that fight. And Sidario hurt his leg, which is why that fight kind of slowed down a lot. But I mean, is there a big height difference? Yeah, there's a huge height difference between them.
I didn't realize Shrek was that short.
Yeah,
he looks so big that it kind of masks how short he is.
Yeah, there's a huge height difference. Shrek's almost 50 years old. He's been losing some. He picked up some wins recently, actually.
Hey, listen, it could be the Shrek train. The comeback train.
This fight means a lot to him. I mean, he was crying during the press conference about how much it meant to him to fight on the New Year's Eve card, and he's not afraid to go in there and try to land a big punch to knock somebody out. And I think Shibasai is more of a grappler, so it'll be interesting to see what happens between the two. But I mean, I just don't know enough about Shibasai. I mean, he's only got 7 fights. He looked really he's either really injured or hesitant in his last fight. I couldn't tell. And Yuki Nakai was in his corner, which tells me that he's kind of a grappler. But I think Shrek's just going to go out there and try to exchange with him.
Nice.
Well, do you think? I mean, so if we were going down to the ground, I'd have to assume that Shrek probably is the better grappler, just because from the being from Team Bonsai and all that stuff. Even though like I can't remember the last like for at least his Rizin fights, he hasn't gone to the ground. Shrek has.
Shibasai?
No, Shrek. And
Never
for
fought
deep,
Rising
for deep as
before.
well. For deep as
Never
well.
fought for Rising before. This is his first Rising. Oh wait, he did fight in Rising one time. You're right. My bad.
Yeah, Rocky Martinez.
Yeah.
Was it Rocky? Was it somebody else as well? I know. I think
No,
it was
just Rocky Martinez.
Yeah, it's funny how Shoma Shibasai is becoming the best Japanese heavyweight since I don't know who.
Fujita
Maybe Fujita, yeah.
Good.
or Ishii. What's another big heavyweight that recently? Ishii is one. Was there another big heavyweight besides them? Can't remember right now.
Code Mayday said this is the second worst fight in the card. I don't know. I hope it.
To kind of go with he's saying, it's Siddario's injured. Like it's clear that if they were going to have a heavyweight fight, they wanted Siddario to be on the card, but Siddario's injured, and so they needed to put some heavyweights on the card. So this is what we got. I feel like Shoma Shibasai has been like the afterthought in every fight he's ever been a part of in Rising, and quietly built up just like a bunch of wins.
It kind of sucks because he is winning. He's won he's finished every fight that he's had in Rising except for his first one, which he lost by a dumb decision. And so it's kind of like, yeah, he's kind of there, and he's like he is an afterthought.
Well, this will be his coming out party right here. This is New Year's Eve. Was one of the biggest shows of the year
against Shrek though. Like, will a Shrek win do anything?
Yeah, of course.
People remember it. Shrek looks funny.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
People remember it. People remember it because Shrek looks funny. But I mean, he's a submission guy, so I think he's going to try to get him down and submit him. And Shrek's just going to try to land a big punch to knock him out.
Code Mayday says that he's the best Japanese heavyweight since Ishii. That is depressing.
Yeah, when you said Ishii, I was kind of like not wanting to be like, I mean,
well,
was Ishii that good? Was Ishii that good?
Well, what are some other Japanese heavyweights? I was trying to think of some, and that's all
Takayama.
I could think of. Oh, yeah,
Takayama and Fujita.
No, I'm talking about recent ones.
There's been really no recent ones.
Yeah, so Ishii was the only one.
Siddario's the only one. Siddario's the only one that looked like he was going anywhere, and then he got beat by Shibasai.
Yeah, no, Siddario and Shibasai are definitely the two top Japanese heavyweights right now, for sure.
Well, now Siddario's brother said he wants to get involved too, so we'll see about that.
Oh, nice. Good info, CJ. Hope that happens.
Twin brothers fight each other next Rising. Let's see.
Make their mother watch ringside.
J. Chris says that he's picking Ota over Sone, Kozi over Yaman, and Hagiwara over Suzuki. What do you think about what do you think about Shrek and Shibasai, J. Chris? I mean, like, so I think this fight won't go beyond the first round. I can't see it going beyond the first round. I think someone's gonna probably get knocked out, probably Shrek, because he's gonna overcommit like he always does. Like when he boxes, Shrek kind of looks like, I don't know, like it looks really
it's a classic case of being too big, right?
He's too big, but he's too short.
So he's too bulky.
Yes.
It's like those
like
big bulky guys are just like this kind of.
He's an action figure. He's like a human action figure. I don't know. His proportions are just so perplexing. Like I don't know how he's built. Like Shibasai is tall and kind of. He's like
6'3", he's a tall guy.
Yeah, he's a tall guy, but he's not muscular. He's not fat. Right. He's kind of like an average
like dad bod.
Yeah, I don't even call like not even like dad, but like Shrek's like proportions are so. But I don't know how he like
why they call him Shrek.
He must go to like some special custom suit place for his suits because I would have no idea. Like it must be insane. Like he has to get like his suits like custom made because
he also works out with Suzuki. So can you just like I wonder what goes on in that workout room.
Oh God. That's got that maybe that'll be in the next Rise of Confessions video when they do it on Shibasai and Shrek.
You just see Shane Carwin walking by in the background.
I mean, I guess after this, I don't know, like there's really no other heavyweight fights that are like any like compelling heavyweight fights.
Well, after this one, they'll probably wait until the international fighters are allowed back in Japan, and then they'll Sakakibara-san will work his magic and find some good heavyweights.
I think that Rizin's even beyond that. They're not even thinking beyond waiting for at most they're maybe thinking of like one or two, maybe Tofik and Johnny Case, but like at this point, I don't think they like until it's actually allowed, they're not even giving a shit about it anymore because it's too much of a headache to like, oh, we're gonna get visas for all these people. Oh wait, no, your visas are all canceled because we're not allowing anybody in. So I think they're not even
because
like
stupid COVID. That's what it is.
I think they're not even like looking into that far down the line until it's actually like made official by the government.
I wonder if that Jaideep Singh guy still lives in Japan.
You know,
dig him up.
There's got to be also some like Brazilian heavyweights as well. You know,
because that Jaideep Singh, that giant Indian guy, they had him around. I know he lost to what? Did he lose to Rocky Martinez?
Yeah,
Fedor.
Yeah,
but stomped him.
But I think he also fought Rocky. So
yeah.
Was that in deep?
Yes, it was in deep. Yeah.
Hey, listen, you know what? Maybe
look. I just pulled him up. He has one Rising fight. He fought Theodoros at Rising 1.
Okay.
Oh, wait. Who was the guy that Fedor fought? Then I thought he fought Jaideep Singh.
I thought
he fought Fedor as well. He fought both of them.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
Two Rising fights. My bad.
Hey,
let's get that guy back. I mean, he wasn't very good, but he's huge. So bring him back.
Yeah. There you go, CJ. He's already booked matchmaking for a next heavyweight fight. I like it.
Yeah.
Listen, all I care about is that eventually we could get Rocky Martinez back on the Rizin heavyweight.
Absolutely. Yes.
Circuit.
That's a good idea for match him up. The winner of this fight, Rocky Martinez matchup, bring him back for the winner of this fight. That'd be a good fight. You know, bring in some Russians or something. There's plenty of Russian good fighters there. I mean, as soon as the stupid COVID's over, they can bring in international fighters. It'll be fine. They'll find someone for them to fight for sure.
How funny, you know, this is a fight that goes to a decision, and it's just the two of them laying on.
I mean, if it's anything like the first Dario fight, it might go that way.
Well, I guess. If Shibisai gets injured or is incapable,
super hesitant again. Might see him do that circling thing he did in the last fight.
Hey, but listen, if Shrek wins, you know, this will be an excuse to do Cesaro versus Shrek.
There you go. That's right.
To bring the megatons over.
Yes.
And we're going to go on to the next fight. And
here we go.
This is a fight I'm really curious to hear everybody's thoughts about.
Oh, I can't wait for this one.
Koji Takeda, Black Panther Bay Noah, two of the darkest men on the Rizin roster. Both one is naturally dark, the other one, I guess, unnaturally dark.
What do you mean? He's got a super tan.
I think during the press conference, Koji Takeda said, like, I always try to make myself as dark as possible for my fights. And I think he said that, like, I think my opponent has me beat on that level.
I remember him saying something like that. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
What do you think about this fight, CJ?
I think the Bay Noah fun comes to an end.
Oh,
I think Takeda is going to suplex and take him down like a crazy person.
Yes.
And I mean, Bay Noah can knock him out, but I think Takeda is going to go after him like a banshee and just suplex and try to take him down and smash him.
Well, here's the thing. I'll say this, you know, in the Dominator fight, we did see Bay Noah has some actual good like defense. Obviously, there's a difference between Dominator going for grappling versus Takeda from
I think Dominator also massively underestimated Bay Noah going into that fight.
Yeah, and I think there was also a size difference as well. There was like there
was.
But
I think Takeda's coming off of a loss, right? He lost to Yachi.
Yes.
So I think he's fired up, and I think he's gonna be motivated, and I think he's just gonna try to take him to Takedown City.
Let's see.
Takeda's coming off of a Fight of the Year candidate, if I'm not mistaken, earlier in the year, right? He had a sensational fight. Yeah.
Kume,
And he had one of the best combo sequences of the entire year. The combo sequence I'm talking about in that fight was he did a suplex to a grounded knee to a face stomp combo, I believe it was, and that was the best combo at least the first half of the year for sure. And I'm looking forward to this one so much. Bay Noah is one of my fighters. He's a kickboxing crossover Rise champion, and like Aunt Drew was saying, in his fights, he showed great promise already as a kickboxing crossover. Great, even though he lost one, but he showed some great skills with defensive grappling and everything, and his ability to stay on the feet and takedown defense. So he's already got a world-class striker. We know that since he's a kickboxing champ crossover. So, and Koji Takeda is coming off of a fight of the year candidate, like I was saying. So this is another fight that has fireworks written all over it. And I'm really excited for this one. I can't wait. I hope CJ is wrong. I'd like Bay Noah to win, because I like the kickboxing crossover. Plus, he also reps the U.S. If I'm not mistaken, he comes out to the U.S. flag, even though he lives in Japan now, but he still reps the United States. So he's technically a U.S. fighter. So, it's going to be a lot of fun. I can't wait for it. I'm definitely rooting for Bay Noah, but it's going to be a lot of fun either way.
Sorry, I'm falling behind in the chat. Jay Chris says Shibisai over Sakine. I think that's what mostly everybody's saying. Komei Day says Fedor versus Jaideep is the same class of matchup as Tension versus Gomi. He also says that
I think, yeah.
Komei Day also says about Takeda Bay Noah, the worst fight in the card, just throwing Bay Noah into the wood chipper.
No, I agree with that sentiment. I agree with the sentiment that it's like, oh, Bay Noah, you beat Daryl Lukoku. Let's go fight the deep champion in your next fight. Like, it's just like there's no middle ground. There's no, let's give him number 10 ranked guy. It's just like, nope, you're going straight into the wood chipper. He's totally right.
I also give props because I love the movie Fargo. Whenever I hear the term wood chipper, I'm always reminded of the ending of Fargo.
Classic Peter Skarsgård.
Yes. What was it that he said?
Peter Stormare. My bad.
Peter Stormare. And, what was it he said what was it? I don't want to actually spoil it. It's a great movie. People should see it.
Spoiler alert, it came out in the 90s, by the way.
Hey, that's one of the best decades.
Kobe Day also said that Takea is the best Japanese wrestler in the 155 division. Too much too soon. Jamie says, let's destroy another prospect bout of the night.
No, that's totally what it is. It's like, Bay Noah is a lot of fun, but I mean, let's be honest. The Daryl Lukoku fight, Daryl was kind of pushing him around. And he's not an MMA fighter. He's like what? Like a layaway kickboxer himself. And so if he pushed him around, you got to think that Takeda is just going to take him down immediately. And Bay Noah was a lot of fun. I wish they would have given him someone more up to his skill level.
Like I think we said that should have been the Kohei Tokeshi, who fought Jay O'Hara from the last one. Yeah. Daniel says, in my opinion, Rizin wants to check where's the limit of defensive wrestling skills of Bay Noah. And I seems like they're really like, they're going up the so it's Dominator, Daryl Lukoku, and now we got Koji Takeda. So they kind of went like from like step 1 to now to number 12.
Do you think those two super hot round girls are going to be in the crowd cheering for Bay Noah again? Because
probably.
As long as they're there, bring them back every event.
Yes.
Jay Chris says Jay Chris says that CJ can't be any more wrong on what he said about Bay Noah. Bay Noah hasn't reached his final form yet. I think in this fight he will evolve.
Yes.
I mean,
we'll definitely see some evolution.
The real question is, do you think Takeda is spending more time in the tanning booth before this fight?
He's spending more time tanning than training.
He's trying to get as dark as possible.
To get darker than Bay Noah?
Yes.
Get Black Panther? Yeah. I can't believe like he's gonna have like skin cancer by the time he's 40. His skin's gonna look absolutely disgusting.
Well, if he's doing a tanning booth, isn't that safer than the actual sun rays? So he might escape the skin cancer, hopefully.
Hopefully. I mean, yeah, this is like, I mean, I guess they're hoping for a fun fight, but like, yeah, this is like I don't know what to say. This is I feel like this is definitely outside Bay Noah's like.
This just reminds me of like some of the old it's not that abnormal. It happens all the time, especially in the Japanese promotions. But the one guy it reminds me of the most is like who was it? I just remember watching Pride all the time. And it was like, oh, in your first Pride fight, you're going to be fighting Vanderlei Silva.
Oh,
in your first
here's
pride
an
fight.
example. Oh, I know what you're thinking of, CJ. So Yuji Nagata, the New Japan pro wrestler, his fights, his only 2 fights. His debut fight was against, I believe, Mirko Krokop.
Yep.
And then his second fight was against Fedor.
Fedor Emelianenko. Yeah.
Yeah.
Those are like the rating grabs fights, though. That was Nagata's rating grabs fights, right?
Well, sorry, what was that?
Those are just rating grabs fights. You're talking about Yuji Nagata, right?
Yes, from New Japan.
Yes. Those were rating grabs fights when those happened. Those weren't.
I think that was more.
Everybody knew, dude. Everybody knew when as soon as they booked him up with Mirko, like, oh, this guy's gonna get smashed just for ratings.
That was more Naoki saying that pro wrestlers are actually stronger than actual MMA fighters.
He sent all of his pro wrestlers to go out and fight MMA fighters,
and they all got their ass kicked except for
Nate
and Shinsuke Nakamura, who actually had some like actual experience.
Like,
and then
the guy when I was at the AACC party, one of the guys that was there was the karate guy named Iwasaki, and they were like, "Oh, we met in 2002. He was making his pro debut." And I was like, "Oh, who was your first fight against?" And he was like, "Vanderlei Silva." And I'm like, "Oh." Then I looked it up. And I'm like, "Oh, Vanderlei Silva was like 19-3 at the time, and Pride was like, you go forth, go die."
Jamie says this is a gift to K to highlight real footage for his potential Bellator debut.
Yeah, so in my mind, they're just like hoping that he who was that pro wrestler? As long as we're on that, like Chris Benoit style, not that way, but just throws like 50
Hopefully
German
not.
suplexes.
Hopefully not.
Does like 50 German suplexes in a row and just smashes them. I think that's what they want. They just want to see a bunch of suplexes and slams.
Well, what do you over under on how many suplexes we think that will be in this fight?
3.
Hopefully a lot. Hopefully over 3. CJ set over under at 3. Hopefully it's over 3. I love suplexes.
I mean, I'll say this, that Takeda has never been finished, but here's the thing. If he even for a second, has that chin out, Benoit can knock him out, I think.
Oh,
no. Right. That's right.
That's the thing about these kickboxers that come over is they're so much better at striking. They can knock you out whenever, but I just don't think he's going to have the chance.
Do you think that Takeda is going to suplex his way to decision, or I think he could actually submit probably Benoit.
I think he's going to try to submit him.
Oh yeah. I think that's probably what's going to happen anyway. I think Takeda will submit Benoit.
Or he'll rough him up on the ground.
That too. Yeah. Oh, that too. I'll have to add to the drinking game. Every time Takeda does a suplex, take a
that's
drink.
a proper shot.
I just hope that if Benoit loses, that they still bring him back because he's a hell of a lot of fun.
Oh, they'll definitely bring him back. I think they'll definitely bring him back.
Definitely. He's one of their rising stars for sure.
And he said he's been saying he's been wanting to do MMA for a long time. I remember when I interviewed him like 3 years ago, even before he did any MMA fights, he said he wants to do MMA before the end of that year.
I will add, I always find it interesting when kickboxers convert over to MMA because I've heard some coaches say like one of the hard things they struggle with is there's such a good difference in distance. Like the distance you strike from in kickboxing is so different than MMA. So, but he's had 2 fights now, so it'll be interesting to see how adjusted he is to that.
I also think being the weight class that he's in Rise, there's just not a lot of competition for him in that weight class. It's a very minimal weight class, 165 or 170, whatever it is that he does. And there's a lot more competition in MMA around lightweight and all that stuff. So I think it's also I want to compete thing, and there's just more competition right now in MMA. I think he's just trying to get a bigger stage too, because he's also a comedian, right? That's true. Yeah. He's also a comedian as well. I don't know if he's funny. I've heard differing opinions on his comedy.
He seems pretty funny when he's on the mic.
He's definitely charismatic. He's definitely very, he knows how to. He knows how to get a crowd, excited with his entrances and all that stuff.
Yeah, are you talking about Benoit, right?
Yes, Benoit. Yeah. Oh, Takeda, absolutely not. Takeda has no charisma at all.
Benoit's entrance was badass when he did the whole Black Panther entrance. All it was missing was a Wakanda Forever salute, and it would have been movie quality.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's true.
Benoit, I mean, he's got it all. He's
CJ?
got the entrance, the skills, everything.
CJ, this is part 1 of 2 of your fights. Ayaka Hamazaki, Seika Izawa.
Yeah.
CJ, this is all you.
Okay, so this fight's a hell of a lot of fun because finally we're getting Ayaka Hamasaki, an opponent who isn't a fossil. They aren't like digging up someone whose body is like falling to pieces. So, I mean, this is a classic case, right? You got Ayaka Hamasaki, who I believe is 39 years old, going against Seika Izawa, who's 24. And Seika Izawa she only wrestled up till junior high school, but I mean, she won the national championship. So she's obviously a good wrestler. After that, she concentrated on judo, and she's a very good judo fighter as well. So her grappling skills are off the chain. And on paper, her grappling skills are more highly decorated than Ayaka Hamasaki. I'm going to make a little sub-statement to say what you do outside of MMA doesn't always translate over, because grappling in MMA is so different, that Ayaka Hamasaki is obviously a very good grappler in MMA. So, but just on paper, Seika Izawa is a more highly decorated judo player than Ayaka Hamasaki was. Nice. But Ayaka Hamasaki, in my opinion, will have a clear striking advantage and a clear strength and power advantage. Before she was an MMA fighter, Ayaka Hamasaki was a personal trainer. She works out with what's like a Kitamura, the wrestler. She works out with him. Mm-hmm. And so like she takes her physical fitness very seriously, where I think Seika Izawa's recently started training because her brother's a personal trainer, but it's not going to be enough to catch up. I think Ayaka is clearly going to be stronger and have a striking advantage. If you remember back when Ayaka fought in Invicta FC, she fought Jinyu Frey the first time. It was a doctor's stoppage TKO. And some people were kind of upset about it because it got stopped by a cut. I wasn't that upset about it because I was convinced that she was about 2 seconds away from knocking out Jinyu Frey. Because if you remember, she punched Jinyu Frey with a hook, and Jinyu Frey like stumbled back into the cage. And that's when the ref jumped in and stopped it due to the cut, to have the cut looked at. And I think if that wouldn't have happened, she would have just lit her up against the cage and it would have been over. So that's where Ayaka's strengths are. Seika's going to try to get it to the ground as quick as possible. And she's submitting everybody on the ground. She's so good on the ground. But the interesting thing I thought was, if you watch the Rising Confession video and the interviews, Ayaka Hamasaki admits that she's like not fighting as strategically as she could recently. She like wants to have fun, exciting fights. So she's trying to get knockout finishes. She's trying to go for submissions. And so she could be playing it safe and going for like calculated victories, but she's trying to have fun fights. And so that could, and as we saw, that kind of opened her up in the Kana Asakura fight, because she could have easily, in my opinion, tried to submit Kana in the first round, but she was trying to knock her out, and she emptied her gas tank trying to knock her out. And then Kana kind of came back because Ayaka was so tired and made it a split decision. It was a very good performance by Kana, but I think most of it was that Ayaka just emptied the gas tank trying to knock her out in the first round. And so it's kind of fun to speculate. Like, what's Ayaka going to do? Is she going to try to do some fun and knock Seika out real early in the fight, or is she going to try to turn it into a grappling affair and just see what happens? But I mean, I'm not trying to say that Seika's striking is bad. For someone, she's only been involved in MMA for less than a year, like about a year and a half. She only started training in MMA during the pandemic. Like, that's how briefly she's been training in MMA. She got into MMA because judo competitions shut down and she wanted to compete. And the only thing she could still compete in that was happening at the time was MMA. And so like her rise has been insanely fast. And I remember I saw her fight Miki Matono, who's Ayaka Hamasaki's teammate, who's like mini version of Ayaka. She's a judo player. They're like essentially identical athletes. And in the first fight, Seika Izawa took her down and used a jab to beat her. Second fight, she took her down and submitted her in a couple of minutes. Like, her skill set is improving rapidly, and she's mixing the skills together. And I think that also excites Ayaka. Ayaka seems excited because in the past couple of fights, she's like, I really wish the younger generation would step up. I'm like getting to the point where I need to pass the torch off to somebody. I'd like to see like the new generation rise up. Well, be careful what you ask for, because I think the new generation just has stepped up and sent somebody up. And if Seika can survive the striking exchanges, I'm extremely interested to see what happens on the ground, because I can count the numbers of times I've seen Ayaka Hamasaki fight off her back, like on my hand. Like she's always on top. She's always going for arm locks of some type. It'll be interesting to see what she does against somebody who has the potential to resist those and get her on her back and put her in submission trouble.
Is this fight maybe? Would you say could it be also maybe too early of a fight to have for Izawa? I mean, of
if
course,
she loses, 100%. If she loses, it's too fast. I mean, it's one of those things that's hard to say before it happens. I know they tried to make the fight earlier. I know that when Saudi Oshima fought Kana Asakura, that Rising wanted that to be Seika Izawa. But Seika Izawa herself thought it was too fast. And then she went and she fought Siwoo Park at 49 kilo and won that fight. Close fight, by the way. Very close fight.
Mm-hmm.
And so actually, it might be too fast, but if she wins, it's not too fast.
Well,
it's like one of those chicken or the egg things.
That's the other question as well. Is that Izawa? How many fights has she done at atomweight? Because she's strawweight. Strawweight.
It's only her fight with. Okay, first off, she walks around at like 52 kilo. So I mean, when she fights at strawweight, she doesn't cut weight.
Okay. And
her last fight was against Siwoo Park at 49 kilo, which is what this fight's going to be at.
Okay. I mean, Ayaka is so good and she dominates 98% of the people that she fights. I don't see what Izawa, I've watched all of her fights that I've been able to find on the Deep YouTube channel. And I don't know what Izawa has at this point that she can defeat Ayaka. I feel like
CJ said she had judo. She has better judo than Ayaka. That's what CJ said. That is definitely a tool in her toolbox to defeat Ayaka. Because judo has traditionally been the martial art that's been able to counter, if you will, wrestling. Like that's how you usually can get a wrestler to the ground. It's like a judo trip or something. So if CJ is saying that Seika has excellent judo, better than Ayaka, then that's a huge factor in this fight. So CJ's what he wants could really potentially happen. Seika could definitely judo trip her onto her back, and then CJ will get to see how Ayaka handles that and fights off her back for a little bit. So that's definitely a possibility. So it's going to be real good. I mean, CJ, he's got me even more hyped for it, giving us the background to this fight. It's just makes it even better. I had no idea about that stuff about Seika, so now I'm even more intrigued about this fight.
Let's see.
What's interesting about it is like the big threat. Like, what's a big threat to Ayaka Hamasaki? Miyu Yamamoto would be a threat to Ayaka Hamasaki if she had any submission skills. But I mean, she doesn't. So I mean, she's an amazing wrestler and she hits really hard. But once they went to the ground, she posed very little threat, which is why I'm kind of interested. Like, Drew's right. Like, Ayaka Hamasaki is the number one atomweight in the world. Like, Hamsohi or Hamasaki, take your pick. One of them is the number one atomweight in the world.
And we actually, you bring up a great fight. Ayaka's the one fighter I think that she can have, like, the one type of fighter is against somebody who's an excelled striker like Ham. So that's why, like, that's what Hamasaki came close. That was a very close fight. Because
but the interesting part about that fight is that I think Hamasaki did her best work in the striking. See, the problem in that fight, if you remember, is that she got stuck in a triangle for like 3 minutes.
It was for the entire round. I think it was for almost I think the entire round. And she got out like 20 seconds before the round and then tried to do some soccer kicks to Ham.
Locked her in a triangle and was like elbowing her and punching her in the head from it. She like wasn't really going for the submission. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of interesting when Hamasaki gets in weird positions on the ground. It seems like she kind of just like was like more content to stay there. And in the last round, when she started punching, I mean, she was doing much better exchanging with Ham than she was grappling with her. It was like a giant tipping the world upside down kind of moment.
Mm-hmm. I mean, this is an intriguing fight. Hold on, sorry, I'm falling behind in chat. Jay Chris picks Hamasaki over Izawa. Daniel says that Seika tries to do single legs, even if she is striking. And if she tries to single leg Hamasaki, I don't see that going well. Like, Hamasaki will have that scouted.
Yeah.
Easily. And we got WMMA scene now in the chat. Ayaka will have Megumi Fuji in the corner. And he thinks that Ayaka will want to do something to impress her. That's interesting because they did make a big deal about that in the confessions. I forgot about that. I
spoke to Megumi at the AACC 20th anniversary party, and she was kind of talking to me as well about, kind of agreed that, I mean, Ayaka's clear advantage in this fight is the striking. And so I think that they're going to try to lean into the striking aspect of it.
I think grappling as well. Ayaka,
but it's not as
MMA
clear.
grappling. MMA grappling.
MMA grappling, yes, but it's not as clear cut, because I mean, Seika has dominated people on the ground who come from similar backgrounds as Ayaka. I'm not saying she's going to dominate Ayaka. I'm just saying that is a threat, and to not acknowledge it would be stupid when you have a clear advantage in the striking. Because I mean, Ayaka's got a boxing coach. She's been boxing for a long time. I'm not saying Ayaka's going to like knock her out with a high kick or anything, but I think she has a really good lead hook, and I think she's going to try to piece her up with that. Because in her last fight, Seika's eye got super messed up in the Siwoo Park fight, and it wasn't from the illegal soccer kick. Before the soccer kick, her eye was messed up. So I think that Ayaka is going to try to do what Siwoo Park did without the illegal. I mean, soccer kicks are legal in this fight, so she'll go for that as well.
That's right. That's right.
So what would you say is your final prediction for this fight, CJ? How do you think it's going to go down?
I don't want to like undercut. Like, Hamasaki should be and is the clear favorite to win this fight. I'm just trying to relay that Seika Izawa is finally a refreshing challenger.
Oh yeah, I absolutely agree.
When the Emi Fujino fight happened, I was like, Emi Fujino is older than Ayaka Hamasaki. Like, her knees are jacked. Like, her body's falling to pieces. I was just hoping we didn't, like, there's a moment in the fight where Emi Fujino just like fell down because her knees so messed up.
They were all taped up, I think, as well.
I just didn't want to see that. I'm like watching fighters I like take unnecessary damage. So it's just nice to see like a refreshing new fight. It's kind of like when Saori Oshima beat Kana Sakura. It's just like, ooh, somebody new and somebody exciting and somebody young. This is fun. And this is kind of what this is with Seika. But don't be mistaken. Ayaka Hamasaki should be the clear favorite going into this fight.
How about you, CJ?
You mean J. Chris?
No, I'm sorry. Oh my God, JayWolf. JayWolf, sorry.
Yes. Oh yeah. No, I'm definitely looking forward to this fight. Like I was saying, I'm even more intrigued now. Listening to CJ drop all that knowledge about this fight, because he's the expert on Japanese women's MMA. He knows all the deep jewels, everything. When you want to know about Japanese WMMA, CJ is the man.
Well,
you make sure you go to his all his websites on his profile and stuff, and you'll see. Just read some of his articles and his deep jewels reviews and stuff, and you'll see he knows what's up. So this fight, it's just made this fight even more intriguing. And I didn't even know that about Seika, so I'm even more intrigued now, because she's a clearly a worthy challenger, like CJ was saying, and Ayaka is one of the top females in the entire world. So it's going to be a lot of fun. I can't wait.
Well, here's what Rizin could do next. If Ayaka Hamasaki wins this fight, CJ, you'll probably agree with this. So if Ayaka wins next year, after Manhoof wins her return fight, they can book the Atomweight Championship between Ayaka Hamasaki and Sadeh Manhoof for Rizin 35 or something.
I'm so happy you bring that up, because when I fought my Facebook friend, and I saw that she's been training a lot recently, and when she came back, I was like, oh my God, Manhoof's back. She like used to punch people so hard back in the day. I'm excited to see what she does.
Hey, listen, that could be an intriguing fight.
It's fun.
That could be.
I still say that whether Siwoo Park wins or loses, you have her fight Hamasaki, you put her in a Ham Sohee mask, you put the Team Mad fight gear on, and you act like it's the Ham Sohee rematch.
Jamie also agrees. Both these ladies fighting is refreshing, good stuff. It really is. It absolutely is, especially because I think we said it before 1,000 times. Atomweight's the division that's been hurt the most. I think even worse than heavyweight. By COVID. Like, it's been virtually deep fights at this point. It's been deep jewels.
Well, it's not even that. It's that they've been picking fighters that have name value, but the problem is the people that have name value are like 40 years old. Like Deep Jewels right now has a ton of young atomweights that are exciting. They have a bunch of like girls that are in their 18, 20s, 25. I mean, Hikaru Aono is still waiting on the sidelines with Shuto holding her hand, crying, waiting for her chance to fight in Rising. So the fighters are there, And I think Saudi Yoshima and Seika Izawa are refreshing because they're finally tapping into the new market of young fighters.
And so, we're ready to talk about Siwoo Park. Let's talk about Siwoo Park, Reina. CJ?
Oh yeah, here we
You've been
go.
CJ, I think you correctly predicted this fight as
Yes.
well, right?
My proudest moment, I predicted that I predicted both these fights would happen based solely on limited availability.
Yeah.
Because Rena says she wants to fight foreign fighters. All right. There's one of them in Japan. So that makes it easy. And I mean, it's kind of an easy guess because Siwoo Park and Seika Izawa both fought at 49 kilo like a couple months ago. It's like, what promotion has 49 kilo? Oh, Rizin. That's the only one. So, but this is a great fight. So Siwoo Park is extremely athletic. Like, she is a physically powerful fighter. I mean, if you look at her, she's got like a six-pack. She looks ripped. She's jacked.
And she trains at Crazy Bee as well with me.
Right. She trains at Crazy Bee, and she trains with Miyu Yamamoto and Itsuki Hirata. And she's also the former sparring partner of Ham Sohee when she was in Korea. And so, I mean, she's trained with a bunch of really good people. She comes from a kickboxing background. I think she actually fought Panchan Rina a while back in Knockout. And
yes, it was. It was I actually watched that fight. I mean, Siwoo Park had no chance, but like nonetheless, it was,
Yeah, but she's knocked out. I'll describe her this way. She doesn't have knockout power. She has TKO power. So what she can do is she can stun people and then overwhelm them to the point that the ref stops it, which is what she did against Hikaru Aono. And she fought Saudi Yoshima in the atomweight tournament that Deep Jewels had, and Siwoo Park was actually the favorite to win it. And she lit up Saudi Yoshima, who's absolutely tiny. She's 4'11", and she dropped her, and she got overexcited and dived in to finish her, and that's when Saudi threw up an armbar from the bottom and beat her. And so, but I mean, after that, she fought Seika Izawa, and she looked really good. Working with Miyu Yamamoto, her takedown defense now is just next level. Like, Seika Izawa had a real problem getting Siwoo Park to the ground. And when she got to the ground, she had a hard time keeping her to the ground. Now, normally this would be an important factor, but in a fight with Rena, that takedown defense skill is probably next to useless because Rena is not going for a takedown at any moment in this fight. So
I'll say this, Rena does have good submission. So like I know it's against people that really maybe don't have. I don't know if the same submission game would work on Siwoo Park. I'm assuming she's much more, obviously more excelled than Miyu and forgetting the other lady that she submitted.
Oh no, the girl she submitted. Oh, she submitted Rena. Yeah, but I mean, Siwoo Park's weak point is her grappling game. She's a very athletic, strong fighter who's not going to get tired. She has good stamina, but that being said, Rena's bigger, I believe. And Rena has knockout power. Now, Rena's knockout power is kind of different in that she goes for body knockouts throughout her career. She's like fallen in love with the liver, attacking the body and knocking people without those. She's been doing it her entire career. And she's probably a more technical striker than Siwoo Park. And so that'll be interesting as well. But this should be a striking affair. I'm going to give Rena the slight edge because she's a more technical striker. But Siwoo Park's going to be in her face going for it. And Siwoo Park hits really hard as well. Plus, I mean, I keep rambling, but it cannot be ignored that Rena's doctor told her not to take this fight, that her eye still has that cut.
And I was going to ask you, CJ, what's the status of her eye? Because in the convention video, that eye, I don't know how that footage is recent or whatever, but it looks like that still hasn't fully healed.
Well, I think she said it's going to be a scar.
That was what she told Sakaki Bara that I'm going to charge you for plastic surgery or something if it like reopens again or something.
Yeah, so I mean, there's a high likelihood if she gets hit there again, that wound opens back up. Now, the good thing for her is it didn't look like that wound was at a spot where the blood goes into the eye. Mm-hmm. But I mean, it's still an issue. And if it's going to be on Fuji TV, I think the ref might be more likely to dive in there and stop if there's a lot of blood. So she's got to worry about that. But Rena probably has the submission angle, but Park has better takedown defense. So I think it's going to be more of a striking.
But would Siwoo Park want to get into a striking? Like if I know I'm going up against Reina, my goal is get it on the ground or,
Oh,
push her against the corner so she doesn't have that ability to use her striking. And just, I know it may sound boring, but that might be the only way to, I mean, we saw that's what Kana did, beat Reina
I
both
think
times.
Siwoo Park's going to be in her face and try to beat her up.
Well,
I mean, I think
that might not end well for Siwoo Park, unfortunately.
I know, but I mean, I'm just saying, like, based off what the skills that she has. I mean, let's be serious. Siwoo Park's not going to submit anybody. So Siwoo Park is going to try to be in her face. She's going to throw low kicks. She's going to throw bodies. She's going to go for the head. She's going to try to knock her out, which is why this is going to be an exciting fight.
Nice.
How about you, JayWolf? I know you're a big Reina fan.
I love Reina. Reina is one of the most beautiful fighters. I mean, with her looks and her fighting style, she's just a extremely beautiful, a gorgeous fighter. I mean, a true hot girl fighter. She just got it all. She's an excellent striker. I'm really happy to hear CJ's analysis that Siwoo Park is a striker as well. That means we're going to get probably going to get a striker's delight between these two ladies. So I'm really looking forward to that because Reina is one of the best strikers in the game. Just such an exciting style. I mean, CJ was talking about it earlier, saying that she loves that liver kick, the liver punch too. She's got a couple liver punch knockouts as well. So I mean, she's absolutely just a fantastic striker, just a beautiful woman, a beautiful fighter. Just I can't. She's a true superstar of Japanese MMA, and I can't wait to see this fight. I'm really looking forward to it, especially now that CJ said that Siwoo Park's a striker. Like I was saying, I'm hoping this is going to be a striker's delight, and it's just going to elevate Reina's status again. Even it doesn't matter who wins or loses, as long as it's a good fight, it's going to elevate the status of these ladies. And then Reina, you said, was talking about she wants to fight foreigner fighters, so maybe she has her sights on going back to Bellator next year and picking up a win.
She did mention that she wants to go back to Bellator. So
excellent. Well, I hope they put that in California after the COVID restrictions are gone, because I would love to go see her fight live. And I just can't wait for this fight. This is one of the highlights of the card for me. This is a true hot girl fight, and it's gonna be a lot of fun. I can't wait.
It's also worth noting that Rena, Drew will love this. I mean, she's been training at Brave a lot.
I saw that. Yeah.
Your favorite gym.
So maybe she does go for a takedown. Who knows? But she's been training at Brave like every day.
Maybe we'll get ADCC level Reina for this fight. In the chat, let's see. WMMAC now. He says it's funny that Izawa and Park fought, and it was known the winner would get to fight in Rizin, and now they're both fighting on the same night.
Yeah, exactly.
Daniel says that Park strikes even in this similar way to Seo Hee-ham.
I mean, you can tell because you can always see on their social media, they're always talking to each other, and they were training partners for a long time.
It makes me sad that we never got that Reina fight. That is
it is kind of an interesting story though. The reason Siwoo Park is in Japan is her boyfriend is Seigo Yamamoto.
Yes, he's also Japanese, half Korean.
Half Japanese, half Korean.
Yeah.
So she's here with him, and I believe she got a contract to work for Deep. That's how Deep got her a visa to keep her in Japan.
I was wondering how, because I know that she was in Korea and then she came to Japan, and I was wondering how she's able to stay without being kicked out.
I think Sayaki, in a moment of genius, was like, I need to grab a couple of these foreign fighters, get them contracts where I don't pay them per fight. I'm just going to pay them monthly rates and have them stay in the country because we don't know how long this pandemic's going to be over. And I thought Rising should have done the same thing with a couple fighters as well.
Oh, Tofik.
Yeah, just get some guys and keep them here.
That'd probably be expensive to do that, though, to be honest with you.
Work it out.
Jamie says, due to the eye, is it possible Reina might want to experiment with her grappling? And I think you mentioned that before with the training at Brave. I think we'll see more grappling from Reina in this fight than probably in her other fights.
I mean, it's one of those things where she will have a submission wise, she will have the advantage. I'm just saying that Siwoo Park, it's very clear that, her sister is, her training partner is Miyamoto, a former world wrestling champion, whose sister Seiko taught the American wrestling team. So her takedown defense has gotten very good.
I mean, I'm picking Reina. I just think that
Yeah, me too.
if fights are on the feet, and I think unless I think the only way that Park can really win this is if she kind of just holds Reina on a corner, drags her down, tries to and does very little engagement on the feet. It has to be all on the ground against Reina.
I mean, it's
I think
Rizin, though. I mean, soccer kick, knees, anything could
That's
happen
right.
in this fight.
That's
And
right.
especially with those giant, devastating strikes that are allowed.
Absolutely. And also I want to say that we got to give big props to Reina for making such a quick turnaround to help this New Year's Eve card out. She just headlined a card, the Rizin 32. She was the headliner. That's where I got messed up, and she just it was absolutely sensational performance. That's where she did a big knee on Miyu Yamamoto and knocked her out, and it was absolutely sensational. It just cherried that event as well. So, I mean, I want to give a big shout out and thanks to Reina for stepping up and adding star power to this New Year's Eve card, and because that's a quick turnaround for a superstar. 1 month is a very quick turnaround for a superstar, and I just want to make sure that we relate to Reina that we appreciate her stepping up so big for this New Year's Eve card.
I also say that I love how Park is taking the whole I must avenge my master angle.
Oh, that's true.
I do enjoy that angle. It's
Yes,
almost as good as the bringing the sick kid to the cage with you angle. Like whenever you got the revenge of the sick kid, it's hard to beat you.
I'm afraid we're gonna probably lose some people in the chat when we talk about this next fight. But
why? What's wrong? Oh,
tension. JayWolf, you're like, oh yeah, I know what you're talking about. Any thoughts, CJ?
I mean, Gomi's a badass. I mean,
Well, first of all, so
you can always say Gomi's. What we can say about Gomi? Gomi is an asshole. He's blunt, but he's Gomi. And everything that Tenshin said to try to sound cool, Gomi made him sound like an idiot with his responses and his comments. And I think initially people were kind of like, this was announced after the Takeru fight. This is kind of a disappointment. But then they heard Gomi talk, and they're like, Gomi's a legend. This is hilarious. And it could be fun. I will say, not about this fight, but about the announcement. I didn't like how Sakakibara threw Nadaka under the bus. I mean, he was like, oh, you said you wanted to fight Tenshin, but we offered you the fight and you didn't take it. And part of me was like, Nadaka is several weight classes below Tenshin. And you're like, hey, do you want to fight the best kickboxer, one of the two best kickboxers in Japan on last minute notice? And the guy was like, maybe I'd like a fight camp. Man, I feel like that mistake is more in Sakakibara's corner than Nadaka, and he shouldn't have tried to throw him under the bus.
I saw that Nadaka was disputing what Sakakibara said. Kind of like he said that that's not true, like what's being said or something along those lines.
I totally agree. I think Sakakibara. I mean, I didn't like how he threw Koji and Shibata under the bus. I didn't like how he threw Nadaka on the bus. I think he's making excuses for putting the card together last minute, and I didn't like it.
Oh, well, remember, it's not technically it's not last minute. It's a COVID card. Because remember, they got the rug pulled out from under them. They had international fighters booked and were ready to go, and they got the rug pulled out from under them because of the stupid Omicron crap, and the COVID restrictions were put back in place, and ruined the plans of having international fighters come in.
I don't think that would have affected this fight though. I
think you're leaning too much into the angle of COVID destroyed this card. Because Japanese MMA has always been just extremely late, slow announcements. I mean, that Bob Sapp fight, fight where the fight was announced the day of. They've always half-assedly slapped these things together.
And but remember this one, they said that there was several fighters like Tofik Musaya was one of them.
Yeah,
who was
that's four. None of those guys were fighting Tenshin.
Yeah, well, no, of course, but I mean, I'm sure that
none of those guys fight. That's no application here.
Well, Tenshin could have had an opponent from what was that Thai boxer, or not the Thai boxer, but the Muay Thai fighter that.
Nasty. I just don't agree. I think that they were so concentrating on getting the Tenshin Takeru fight together that after that fight got made, this fight was like an afterthought. They were like, all right, now that we got the Takeru deal done, that's not going to happen until June. So we got to get Tenshin a fight on New Year's Eve. And then they like open their book and Gomi's the only guy available.
That's what I was thinking.
They tried to bully Nadaka to take it, and Nadaka was like, "You're not going to make me take this last minute."
I think they were trying to book the fight, the Takeru tension fight for New Year's, but then whatever, if K1 Rise, whatever, it's like, no, June, whatever, or
because they want to wait after COVID because they want the full stadium. They're going for the record. They're going for 92,000 fans. That's what they want.
The other thing is because also don't forget, Tension said that his last kickboxing match was going to be for Rise in January, but he said he's postponing that to do the Takeru thing. So
I think it's also benefiting him though is that COVID I think those boxing events were all canceled in December.
Oh yeah,
that's right. So now they're running unopposed. That's right.
COVID's kind of helped this fight because Tension doesn't have boxing opponents.
Yeah. I mean, technically, what is it? The standing rules, whatever the fuck they call it. It's the same rules, I think, as the Koji Gomi fight from last year. I'm assuming. I don't think it's any difference in terms of rules.
Is it so? It's 3-minute rounds or is it just 2-minute rounds?
It doesn't even say. Usually it says on the thing.
I hate it when they say special rules because it's just like, half your matches are special rules. Can you tell us and they're all different. Can you tell us what the rules are for this fight?
Let's see. I'm in the chat. Jamie says this is the worst fight in the card. He also says, at least it's easy for Tension. Want to make an easy path for Tension. Code Day says it has been last minute for 20 years with Sakakibara.
Exactly. Because I remember going to dream shows back in the day. And you'd be like, I'd love to buy tickets to this dream show, but they literally haven't announced a single fighter on it, and it's in 2 weeks.
Isn't that Vince McMahon style, Drew? Isn't that how Vince McMahon does it sometimes, or no?
Well, he kind of does. With COVID, everything, they had to change up the MSG show that they just had this past week, literally the day of. But I think for this fight, they also are wearing, I think 12-ounce gloves or no 16-ounce. They're not the usual glove size.
Oh, is it the regular boxing regulation size, for pro boxing?
I think so.
Okay. So this is like a preview of Tension going to boxing, basically.
Didn't Yaman try to get Koji to do MMA gloves, and Koji was dismissing the idea?
I think I heard about
fight and kick in MMA gloves.
That's actually pretty cool.
What do we think? Do we think Tension can knock out Gomi? Or do we think Gomi can knock out Tension? Does this fight even matter in the end?
Yeah, well, Gomi.
Not to sound like a negative Nancy, but I'm off the Tension train. That last him fighting 3 people was such a fiasco, and I'm like, you're going to boxing, and Tokoto's looking good against you in boxing. What the hell is going on? I'm switching over to Team Takeru.
Yeah,
and I was always Team Kana, but.
Oh, you're mad, your boy. You're mad. Tension dumped your girl.
Yeah.
Dumped your girl, Kana.
Did you also see in the confessions video? Gomi said that Sakakibara's ruined his Christmas for the last 2 years because he's always calling him the last bit to do these fights.
As long as we're talking about Gomi, my favorite Gomi comment of all time is when he said he would only stop drinking for a title shot. Gomi is a national treasure because he's just a grumpy asshole. But it's so authentic that I love it.
Heck yeah. Gomi's the best. And dude, you know what? To answer Drew's question, yeah, because Gomi's how many weight classes above Tension is going to be? So he's definitely, dude, it's a fist fight. So, dude, he can knock him out if he's going to be several weight classes bigger.
Will Gomi take it seriously, though? That's the thing. I know the Tension will take it seriously.
It's just going to be the Koji fight, which sucked too. It's not going to be a good fight.
It'll be like a little preview of boxing of Tension going to boxing, basically. That's how I take it. And it's something thrown together last minute to get Tension on the card because the super fight with Takeru was completed by Sakakibara-san. I'm going to give him all the credit. Santa Sakakibara-san delivered for Christmas the Takeru super fight. So now we just have to have something to keep Tension on the card. And Gomi, the OG, stepped up. And now we're going to have a little boxing preview of what's to come of Tension crossing over to boxing. So I think it still has a potential to be pretty fun. But yeah, it's definitely just a fight to keep Tension on the card, basically.
Do you think that Tension will get some sort of send off? or
I
anything,
hope
or do
not.
you think
That'd be lame. I don't want that. No.
do you think they? I think they're probably his rise. His probably they'll do something
Yeah, it's
nice
home
for him for
promotion.
rise.
That seems more likely. I mean,
Uh,
back to Tenshin Takedo, I just didn't think. Another reason. Do you remember back when Takedo did that press conference? He wouldn't even be interviewed in front of a rising sign. I was like, yeah, I feel like it's probably not going to be on New Year's.
Yeah. Jamie says that Tenshin's rising career has been the biggest waste of potential, and this fight solidifies that.
His last two showings in Rising have been like worthless.
That's during the pandemic, though, you guys. It's hard to find.
There's a ton of kickboxers in Japan.
You know what? I don't think you could have even done Tenshin versus Taiga. I mean, it was like
that's what I wanted.
It would have been kind of like the culmination of like at least a fight that was interesting at one point.
I also think another factor is it's like don't let Tenshin lose before the Takeru fight. There's way too much money to be made in the Takeru fight.
That's true. Oh, that's another thing as well.
Match him up with in Rise. They're not just going to give him easy pushover in Rise for his last fight, are they?
Yeah, I bet they will.
Oh, you think so?
They also stand to make money.
I mean, you know, here's the thing. Like, if they would have given Nadaka more
time.
Yeah, I think, even if that would have, like, the weight difference would have been, at least would have been intriguing from a stylistic point of view, I think.
It would have at least been a kickboxer fighting a kickboxer.
Yeah. Instead, it's
not
like
a kickboxer fighting an old MMA fighter in a boxing match.
Hey, it worked for Jake Paul.
Komedea, he has a question for you, CJ. He says, did you know about that Takaru Tenshin presser the day before it happened?
Yes.
Okay.
People were I wasn't contacted about it, but I was contacted by several photographers and media members saying that they were all getting invited to a secret press conference between Rise and K1, which everybody put one and one together.
CJ, you knew as soon as Takara went and got his hair done at the salon, you knew what was
that
up,
was
right?
Hilarious. I love that. I love that part of Twitter and Instagram where everyone's like, Takara got his hair done. They're fighting.
That's not a new thing in Japanese MMA. Whenever someone gets a haircut, dyes their hair, new hairstyle, it's like, oh, they have a fight coming up. I think I think the same thing was said with like Okazaki recently changes. I think it was him or somebody else was getting the same thing when he changed when one of them changed their hair. So in this fight rematch, what does everybody think about this? Saito Mikuru, number 2. CJ?
I don't like rematches this quick. I think that was kind of too soon, my personal opinion. I would have liked to see them cook it up, make it a little more important. Because right now it kind of gets buried. And I think it's a huge fight. It could have been a main event somewhere down the road. Or it could have been like part of the tournament they're talking about.
CJ, we know that I think the plan was for Saito to be champion and to go up against Mikuru again. But unfortunately, plans change.
I mean, what the hell's going on with Rising? Now we got Ushiku, Saudi Oshima, and Nisei, all who won in Rising, fighting back on deep cards next year. So
and by the way, I thought Ushiku almost lost that fight, by the way, against Kanda. And like he did nothing. He did nothing that fight.
Do you think Rising's just gonna forget he exists and like slowly strip the title away from him while he's sleeping? Like every day is moving an inch closer to them.
Maybe he'll be forever
create an interim and then strip him.
Maybe he'll be forever Rizin featherweight champion. They'll just never mention the title ever again, like the Amanda Lucas championship.
Right. Well, I mean, this fight is interesting, right? Because the first fight was super interesting because I feel like Mikuru was like super hesitant, and then once Mikuru decided to fight near the end of the fight, he was like winning. And Saito's never had an easy fight. I feel like Saito's had the toughest career. Like he's really earned every win he's had in Rising.
And everybody like shits on him. He's like called like everybody says like, oh, he's a boring fight.
What? Yeah. Who says that? Who says
the fighters. Mikuru said that he's a boring fighter. I think one of the other 145ers in the confection.
Just wait till they get their hands on Horie. Let's see what they say about him.
Oh, wait till he gets his hands on them.
Yeah.
Oh, too soon. Too soon.
No, hey, that's bullshit because Saito, Yutaka Saito has one of the best superior rule set finishes, one of the best highlights in Epic Rising. The highlight was so good. I think it was in either 2020 or 2019, but it was such a good highlight that it propelled him into a title shot, and that's how he won the title. Because I mean, so I don't know where this boring fighter stuff comes. Because that I can remember the finish right now in my head. It was soccer kicks, grounded knees, and it was one of the best superior rule set finishes that we've seen yet. I mean, it's Yutaka Saito still to this day has one. The only other one that can top it is Shinatari's no contest stomp KO. I mean, the Yutaka Saito. So I don't agree with that he's a boring fighter. And I'm actually really looking forward to this fight, to be honest with you, because Azakura Action Bros always bring it. You know that. And Yutaka Saito, he barely lost that championship match to Yusika. So I mean, he's still he's still a great fighter. So I'm intrigued by this fight. I think it's going to deliver the goods. I really do. And I'm pretty sure that's why they have it so high up on the main card. Because I mean,
because it's Mikuru.
It's going to be good.
Yeah, it's because it's Mikuru. There, if it was Mikuru versus anybody, it would have been.
When you look at they announce the bout order, you can be like, all right, I can tell you with exact certainty where the Fuji Television portion of the card starts.
Oh yeah. I mean, do you think this will be the same type of fight as it was the last time? Do you see Mikuru going for Saito's, I guess, ever-present cut above his eye?
Yes, I see him going for the eye immediately.
Code Mayday says he was making a card promo and he had a hard time finding highlights for Saito.
No, dude, look at his finish. He has one of the best finishes in.
I know what he's talking. I know what
fight though.
Yeah, okay, listen. If you look at it, Saito has 13 decision wins. That's not an insult or anything, but like he's not a finisher. He's somebody who does grind. He's an all rounder who does enough to get the decision. When he wins by that way. But
look, he clearly knows how to use the superior rule set and pride rules. He clearly knows how to utilize them. I mean, that highlights.
He did it one time.
I mean, hey, the potential is there, is all I'm saying. One time is good enough to show that the potential is there. So, well, I mean, we'll just have to see how the fight plays out. But I love him because of that highlight alone. I mean, that was, I still remember it to this day how fun that was. So, I mean, I'm definitely rooting for Yutaka Saito to get a rematch and get his belt back. But I don't know. I mean, I love the Azakura Action Bros too. So, I mean, like I said, I'm just really looking forward to this fight. I think it's going to be great either way.
I'm kind of over Mikuru. I'm still there with Kai a little bit.
Jeez, Drew.
I only saw highlights from the Landmark show against Hagiwara.
Tell me about it. Sakakibara, you got to let us see those Landmark fights, man. Come on. We're ready to pay money for them. Give us access to the next Landmark show. And
the Hagiwara fight sucked. You don't want to see that one.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought I was reading there was like a stomp or something in there.
There might have been, but it was literally just like, I think it was more of a statement by Mikuru, because Hagiwara made all those comments about like how he was going to show Hiramoto what a real MMA fighter is and out wrestle him. And I think it was just Mikuru showing Hagiwara like, who the hell are you to say that you're a good wrestler? Like, you're an awful wrestler. And he just took him down repeatedly. But how injured do you think Mikuru is going into this?
Oh, from his street fight thing?
Yeah,
I thought that was overblown, the whole arm thing, or at least he said that like that was not true, that he injured his arm or something.
That's what I'm like. I thought it was like a knee injury or something.
Oh, okay.
I was wondering, like, is that just him doing like marketing, getting his name out there by saying he's injured and then saying he's not injured? So I'm kind of curious to see if he's legitimately injured or not, because with him, I never know what to believe.
I know it's not like a kind of like, oh, that's a cool pro wrestling thing. It's kind of like, I don't know. I don't think him trying to be promoter doesn't really work as well.
My theory is that he did that Abima fight thing where he fought 3 people in street fights, and then he was criticized for beating the shit out of people who have no fight experience, and then he was also criticized because he hurt himself in it. And now I think he actually hurt himself, and that he's trying to not get the criticism that it was stupid of him to do that so soon to the New Year's.
Or do you think he's doing that in case if he loses, he could say, "Oh, you know what? I was injured."
But he's never done that in the past.
He kind of remember he kind of was making excuses when he lost to
Okay.
Saito the first time. And remember that video that he put out like got like massively downvoted.
All right. Yeah. Okay. Never mind. So I mean,
Um,
maybe he's doing that. My theory is that he actually did get hurt, and some people were calling him stupid. He was just being like, "That's getting blown up before something that actually hurt."
let's see. I'm reading the chat. Jamie says all depends if Mikuru is motivated for his fight. I absolutely
It's
agree.
true.
Code Day says haterade for Mikuru, the most important fighter in the promotion. Jamie says, Jamie says, and if that lawyer is in his corner,
Huh? Oh, what's that guy's name? Hori or something? It's like a similar name to that. Yeah, that guy, he'll definitely be in his corner. The guy that's like his sponsor.
is that his sponsor manager, right? Guy?
Yeah, he works at his law office.
That's it. Okay.
Can
He
you
was in one of
imagine
the,
like going to a law office and you see Emi Fujino and Mikuru answering the phones?
yeah, well, I don't know, like, I mean, Mikuru, from the highlights I saw from that Hagiwara fight, it was just like, yeah, he did what Hagiwara can't do, and that's defend takedowns. I don't think he can
Yeah.
really do the same to Saito in this fight.
Absolutely not. No,
Yeah.
it was first. Mikuru needed the win, and he got
Yeah.
the win, and I'll never dispute that. Like he did what he had to do, but let's not like he took down a guy that I have better takedown defense than. Like Hagiwara's takedown defense is like Shoji got him down. It's like Hagiwara, you need to leave smoke. You need to like put the marijuana down, step out of Smoker's gym, and like go to a high school wrestling class for a week or something, please.
Saito, with him, like, I feel like, what do you think Saito's best advantage in this fight is, CJ, against Mikuru?
Me?
Oh yeah. Sorry, CJ. Yeah.
No, obviously, I mean, it's no secret to me that I've always felt that despite what they say, the Asakura brothers are like brawler strikers.
Yes.
And they're very good at coming up with good game plans. Asakura Mikuru seems to have like a good fight IQ. He seems to be good at coming up with a game plan, but Saito should have a clear grappling advantage if he gets to the ground.
Do you think that he's gonna? So we saw what Kleber did to Mikuru. You think that Saito could do the same thing or similar to Mikuru?
I mean, what's Saito's mindset going into this? Because in the Ushiku fight, Saito was like pacing Ushiku up with strikes. I love those body punches.
Mm-hmm.
I love anyone that goes to the body. And it looked like he was looking really good until he wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just the way MMA is. And,
that's how it works.
But Mikuru, yeah. You can't really do that against Mikuru because Mikuru hits really hard.
Do you think that? But that's the other thing. Do you think Saito will not be as aggressive in this fight? Because listen, I don't know what the state of his that he seems to bleed in every fight from the same place, and just the last one was the worst out of all of them. So, like, do you think he's going to take this fight at a much more slower pace just because if he gets punched or kneed or whatever in that area, fight could be over first round?
I mean, if I'm Saito and I hear Asakura has potential injury, Asakura is a striker. Most of his wins are by knockout. Like, my game plan it'd be stupid not to make grappling part of the game plan, at least for the beginning of the fight. But if I was him, yes, I'd also be much less aggressive.
And that's the thing. But like, if Mikuru is injured, is he going to be? That's the thing. With this injury, with Saito's last loss happening the way it did, I wonder. I don't know if these two are going to be as aggressive as they.
Do you think Mikuru is going to like look to counter him coming in or something?
I think he's going. Yeah, he's gonna try to He's gonna try to do the. And they showed in the confessions video that the knee he did to Hyoki, kind of almost like the same knee that Ushiku did to Saito. Very, very similar. I think he's going to try to wait for that, and if Saito tries to take him down, go for that knee, try to open him up the same way that it happened with Ushiku.
Random question: have Mikuru and Kai ever won on the same card together when they fought on the same card?
I think they.
That's a good question.
Have they both ever won on the same event?
Anybody in the chat know? I can't. I know the whole thing about, when they're not, in the corner, they've lost, but I think that was broken when Cape beat Kai.
Well, that's true. Kai's also hasn't won a New Year's in a long time as well.
That's true. Yes. I mean, I think that Saito is gonna edge out decision. I think probably Rizin wants Mikuru to win, obviously. Like it goes without saying, but I don't think we're gonna get a finish this fight. I think this is gonna go all 3 rounds. I could be dead wrong, but that's just my feeling. It's just
Really? You think it's gonna
So
go?
they both last fought on Rising 28, where Kai won and Mikuru lost.
Oh,
And before that, they both fought on Rising 26, where Kai lost and Mikuru won.
Oh, so they've never been on the same card.
And then they both fought on Rising 20, where Manel Cape, where Kai lost and Mikuru won.
Wow.
Oh, they have never. Oh wait, never mind. On Rising, on the 2018 New Year's Eve card is the last time that they both fought on a card and won together.
That Yaranoka, right? The Yaranoka thing earlier in the day, right? Okay,
yes,
yeah, that's Kome Day also mentioned that in the chat as well, and so did Jamie. So,
damn, I'm slow. So recently, they have not been winning when they're on the same card. That's interesting.
Yeah.
That is very interesting.
So JayWolf, you're picking Asakura?
Yes. He's coming off of a win at Landmark, correct?
Yes.
So I believe he has the momentum. He got the proverbial monkey off his back by picking up a W. So he's back on the winning track now. So he's going to be looking to make a statement on New Year's Eve. And the same thing with Hitaka Saito. He's going to be coming in here looking to make a statement as well, because he's coming off of a narrow loss for his. But he wants to come in here and show, hey, you know what? That was a wrong decision. I'm still the champ. He's going to want to make a statement against Asakura Action Bro. But the Asakura Action Bro is going to want to make a statement as well, coming off of a win. Wants to keep that momentum going. I think it's. I know people are not expecting much, but I think it's going to be great. And I'm expecting the finish because, it's just on the superior rule set with Pride rules, how the finishing propensity for those. And both these guys have shown that they are acclimated to the superior rule set of Epic Rising. So I think it's got a very high violence potential, very, very high potential for a finish. But like you guys were saying, your analysis is great. So it could be a decision as well. But either way, I think it's going to be an exciting fight either way. And I'm leaning towards the Asakura Action Bro, Mikuru, because he's coming off a win and he's looking to keep that momentum going. So, and like you guys were saying, unless he's actually injured, unless that was real and not just something he's trying to psych out Yutaka Saito with, maybe that will be a factor. I don't know. I mean, that's what we're going to see this fight and see what happens. But I just think it's going to be a great fight all around.
We got Hafid in the chat, Hafid Darbaki from Rizin. And he wants to know which GP final matchup scares you guys the most. CJ,
does he mean like the semifinal or like the actual finals?
I'm assuming you mean the finals. I when you say scare, I mean the one that we are not looking forward to. Just clarify that, Hafid. We'll definitely have an answer.
Yeah. Like if it's the semifinal, if it's the final, or if it's like the fight that we don't want to happen the most.
While you're clarifying that feed, we'll go on to the co-main last I guess advertised match. If I can fucking find it. Okay. Satoshi Yachi rematch from about over a year ago for the title. I gotta say Yachi's been training with Shinya Aoki though. I mean, Shinya Aoki doesn't have any everybody who trains with him always seems to do well.
Oh, how dare you? How dare you, sir?
What do you think about this, CJ? Is this?
It's impossible. If I've proven one thing in my life, it's that I cannot predict a Roberto de Souza fight to save my life. I have picked against this guy like almost every fight of his career, and he's won all of them in devastating fashion. So I think what happened is I saw was it the Johnny Case fight where he got knocked out, had the eye injury? That fight has skewed my opinion. I still remember because for some reason it looked like he gave up to me.
I think he got his eye broken or
an eye injury.
And he tapped out before and then Johnny Case, the referee didn't see it in time. He kicked Satoshi in the face.
But let's just do an experiment. I'm picking Roberto on this one. I've never done that before, so let's see if he wins. First off, this is my control group part of the experiment. But also screw Yachi, because Yachi was in the middle of his beat all of the regional champion tour, and he's jumping in line and going straight to the Rising. And I like Yachi. Yachi's a fun guy, but he needed to fight like 3 or 4 more regional champions to really build this up for me.
Yeah, but remember, he's a COVID replacement. Yachi's stepping up because that's
what someone else for Sosa to fight. I mean, they should have had Yachi fight like a moat champion, or gotten him like a guy from Grachan, or gotten him. Has he beaten the Deep champion yet? He beat Pancrase.
Takeda he beat, yes. It was Pancrase. He didn't never fought Kume.
And I fought Kume. That's what I want.
Kume did have a fight just recently, so I wonder if it was ever in talks, or just like because
I need him to fight an Outsiders champion. I need him to fight a Fighting Nexus champion. I need all of it.
Let's see. So Hafida says the final. And which matchup do you guys least want to see?
Okay.
Easily. Motoya versus anybody. Motoya versus Ogikubo would be an awful fight, in my opinion.
It already happened, though. That's the thing. It already happened, and it was.
That's why I don't want to see it again. I don't want to see it again.
Honestly, for me, it would be probably have to be. I mean, I have to kind of agree. Yeah, Ogikubo versus Motoya.
We've already seen it before, and it's probably not going to be a finish. So, plus, I mean, after the tournament, it seems so anticlimactic.
How about you, JayWolf? Is there a worse final for you?
Yeah, I have to agree with you guys. Even though I like the reserve match, having a reservist go on to the final to win, especially one that you guys don't like, Motoya, that would be the worst case scenario for me. But what I'm hoping for, I think is going to happen. The Kai Azakura Action Bro is going to make it to the final, and hopefully it's going to be against Naoki anyway, and that's just going to be just a sensational final, and that'll be a proper main event. But you know, to be honest with you, the other matchups will be good as well, because look, you can't go wrong with the one night GP final, Pride style. It's just, I mean, you're loving it.
Rising kickboxing tournament showed that it can go wrong when the star headbutts gets disqualified in the opening round.
This isn't kickboxing. This is mixed martial arts, and this is superior rule set mixed martial arts. I'm telling you, dude, the one night GP final, Pride style, it's going to be so much fun. After it's over, you guys are going to want to run outside and yell "Pride never die" at the moon. I'm telling you, it's going to be fun.
Also, Hafid asked, which matchup do you guys least want to see? For me, probably well, it kind of comes down
to the whole card.
You mean the whole card, Hafid? Just clarify that. Kome Day says Yachi versus Ohara was probably the match before COVID, or Yachi versus Gustavo.
Yeah.
Do you mean that you wanted to see?
Those would have been fun.
Well, Yachi already had the match with Gustavo, and he got knocked out.
Yeah, but this is all it's all part of the whole redemption storyline, which I enjoy.
True. And
I would have liked to have seen that.
Teep's in the chat. Hey, Teep. Here's the problem. Here's the thing: is that I don't think that Yachi he's done enough to win against guys that are I don't know if he could do the same thing. Can you just do enough to win against Satoshi? I really don't think so. We've seen what
also forget, he pretty much didn't. He essentially knocked Yachi out.
Yeah,
he dropped him with big punches, then submitted him, which I think a lot of people forget about that fight.
Oh, you talking about Satoshi?
I mean Roberto dropped him and then knocked him out of the ground and pound.
Yes,
but, it's not like he took him down and submitted him. He beat him on the feet, which is absolutely shocking to me at the time, which is why I've just been completely unable to predict Satoshi fights.
I mean, because here's the thing: is Yachi gonna try to grapple with Satoshi? If he's smart, he will not.
No, absolutely not. I expect Yachi to do something weird, like a flying knee, immediately, try to a Kid Yamamoto homage, like he did in the Gomi fight.
Well, he's done that in all of his fights so far, and they actually mentioned the key to victory that he always does something very explosive. Now imagine if he does that and like Satoshi sweeps him and armbars him Rousey
Yeah.
did the Zingano.
Will he become the new Hello Japan guy?
Yes.
Oh, let's see. Kome Day said, let's see. Caleb, I apologize, can't pronounce your last name. Caleb says Yachi is getting smashed. Code May Day says Matoya versus Ogikubo was a good first fight. It was, but I don't have no desire to see it again for a tournament final, in my personal opinion. And I think
just, I'm not trying to insult Matoya or Ogikubo. I'm just like thinking of all the fighters involved. Like all the other ones are just more interesting to me at this point in their career.
Yeah. Caleb also says Souza smashed him. Asian John 15 says Yachi versus Hair. Well, luckily he learned. He learned from that Gustavo fight to not to tie the hair back. I mean, unfortunately, he had to get knocked out to learn that. But
do you think
I mean,
Yachi's like movie star girlfriend is going to be in attendance?
Oh, absolutely. Oh God, and yeah, there'll be a I forgot what her name is.
A girlfriend camera and picture in picture going on as well.
Yes.
Is he a famous movie star?
He's dating like a famous. His wife is. His girlfriend's more famous than he is.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. So it's a famous Japanese movie star.
I think she's like a TV actress. If I'm
okay.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Is there any chance for Yachi to win this?
Absolutely. He can knock him. I mean, he's clearly. I mean, when he was on his hot streak, he can knock anybody out. He's got crazy knockout power. He's a good striker, and he's clearly going to be a better fight. I mean, no matter how much improvement Satoshi's made in striking, I think Yachi's still a better striker overall. But Roberto, Satoshi seems to really play to his strengths, which is like, I'm a grappler. I'm going to try to submit you.
That's why I don't think Satoshi's going to swang and bang, I guess you could say, with Yachi. He's, I mean, if he's going to try to get it to the ground and just win that way, I don't expect anything otherwise.
So Yachi opens with a flying knee and Satoshi opens with an Iwanari roll.
Yes. JayWolf, what do you think? Do you think Yachi has any chance in this?
Yeah, of course. I mean, look, it's under the superior rule set of Epic Rizin. You know how unpredictable that rule set is. I mean, it just makes the fighting environment so much more dynamic. So many more ways to win. There is no lay and pray in Epic Rizin, okay? Because of superior rule set. Because you can get kneed in the head on the ground, you get stomped. You can do those. Remember how they were in like Hackround? They were doing heel kicks to the face, on the ground. I mean, there's all kinds of different scenarios. Look at Anderson Silva's knockout of Yushin Okami, where he was on his back, does like a heel kick back, like up kick type of thing, and just knocks out Okami. That's legal in Epic Rizin. So there's all kinds of scenarios that could happen with the superior rule set of Epic Rizin, where it could easily be a Yachi upset to win the title. But Satoshi is a great fighter. Great. I'm with you guys. I expect to see him showcase his incredible Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu skills and get a submission. He's not going to be looking to strike with him. He's looking to get the submission. You guys are absolutely right. That's what I think is going to happen.
Now, the other thing is for a special commentary appearance, Johnny Case is supposed to be on the English commentary. And so I wonder, are they going to put the winner of this match versus Case, considering that Case has wins over both of them? So no matter who wins.
Did Case recently have some domestic violence issues?
My understanding is that they were dropped or that there was not enough evidence or whatever. But if he's still involved in Rising, I'm assuming that it was probably nothing.
Well, I was just worried because the morality of it aside, I know it's really hard to get a visa when you have felonies on your record.
Oh, he was definitely not charged with anything. He was definitely not charged with anything.
I don't know the facts. I know nothing about what actually happened to speak about like the morality or whatever happened, but I was just curious to see if he's able to come to Japan.
So Jamie in the chat says this would be better if it was Takeda versus Satoshi and Yachi versus Bay. Yeah, but Takeda.
I didn't even think about that. Bay Noah versus Yachi is a fun fight.
Oh, it would, but here's the I guess that'd be fighting the Rise champion would have been another way to
exactly
keep up that gimmick. But Takeda versus Souza, that wasn't going to happen because Takeda lost to Yachi. It would have looked bad to put a guy who lost to.
Rising clearly doesn't care about who they put against their title challengers. I mean, look at the Ushiku fight.
Well, in fairness, Saito demanded that. Are you talking about after he won?
No, before he won.
Well, Saito was like, I want this to be a title fight. And I guess it was declared, I guess they granted him that because Saito's champion going to make the rules maybe. But no, the Yachi versus Bay, like, I hope that fight happens somewhere down the line. That would be definitely a great fight.
Agreed.
They could both dress like Bruce Lee and come down. I think they both do that already.
Hafid says that I love how JayWolf always says epic rise and superior rule set as the current Action Brothers, etc., etc.
Yes. Oh, thanks, brother. I appreciate that. You like that. Just for fans like you. Thank you.
Satoshi, I mean, like, so what do you think? Do we get another finish? Satoshi gets another finish with this? I think so.
Satoshi's a finisher. I mean, if Satoshi wins, it's a finish.
Yeah.
Like, what is it? Yeah, every single one of his fights. There we go. Every single one of his fights is a finish. So if he wins, it's a finish.
Yeah. Oh, Komei Day asked, is it bad to put Hamazaki in the non-televised portion?
No.
This
not necessarily. I mean, as much as I like Hamasaki, it's like it would be like disingenuous to say that Rena isn't the bigger draw.
Oh no, I agree, but because they also replay, isn't that so they sometimes do like replays?
They do replays. So I mean, like if Hamasaki and Seika Izawa ends up being a super exciting fight, they're gonna play it like during TV breaks or when they're waiting for stuff to happen.
Okay,
There's the chance for that to happen. But I mean, when you look at the main card, I mean, it's very clear that they're trying. I mean, New Year's Eve in Japan is a ratings war. It is the biggest night of TV in Japan. And there's this TV show called Kohaku that's a music show that dominates the ratings.
That's what
Yachi
was talking about in the confessions when he says we're going up against the music festival.
Yeah, it's called Kohaku. Okay. It literally dominates the TV ratings on New Year's Eve. Like I'm talking like insanely high numbers. And so
also Gaki no Tsukai, right?
Yeah, and the old show that people might be familiar with was Warate Ikenai, that comedy show where they're not allowed to laugh. And so you'd always like see clips on YouTube where they like be in a library farting, and if they farted, like a guy came out and hit him with a kendo stick. So but that show's not on this year, but it's like shows like that. So it's a huge night, and they have to get attention because everyone's gonna be watching that music festival. And so Hamasaki, best fighter at atomweight in the world, her Ham Sohee. But when you're looking for ratings, you got to put Mikuru, Tenshin, hopefully Kai if you're Fuji TV, and Rena on there.
Let's see. Komei Day says Takeda coming off a loss doesn't matter for getting a title fight.
Yeah, I agree.
WMMA scene now says Izawa is used to having to beat champions twice.
That's true. She had to beat Mickey. What's the whole weird thing in Deep Jewels where like Mizuki Inoue is still technically the strawweight champion? So Seika Izawa fought Miki Motono, who was the interim strawweight champion in a non-title fight, beat her, and then had to fight her again in a title fight to win the interim title.
Well, it's the long game, CJ. Clearly, Deep Jewels is playing the long game for when Inoue gets released.
Back. Yeah, and Amanda Lucas.
Yes. Komei Day says Rizin is still going to get their 7 to 8% rating, nothing more. I'm interested, to know what the ratings will be for this year.
Well, I don't have all the numbers. I don't know all the numbers off the top of my head, but I know that Rena 2 years, I think 2015 and 16, had the highest number for the rising cards. I think she peaked at around like a 10 or 11% of the ratings. Nice. That's pretty good numbers. I think and then anything over 10% and rising would lose their minds. That'd be an amazing score. But I think he's probably accurate.
I'm guessing if it's Kai also, will that probably in the main event, that would probably also
that would help. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So hopefully, that's why you don't want to hear Ogi Kubo and Matoya in the finals because everybody will turn over to Gaki no Tsukai and music festival.
I think last year Kohaku's TV ratings were at an all-time low. And do you guys want to take a guess at what it was?
11%.
What do you think, JayWolf? What was the music festival's rating last year?
Last year, probably around 20%.
37.3.
Oh, shit. That's huge.
And that's their lowest number ever.
That's considered low.
41.5. And in 1963, it was 81.4.
Oh my God. That's incredible.
CJ, just explain about TV rates. It takes into account how many people like in the Tokyo region are watching. It's like how does the TV ratings work for Japan? It's not the same here.
Oh, because right here they do like the weird in the US. What do they do? Like that weird Nielsen rating where they call people, right?
You got so you have the little box on your TV, and then when you are on the show for like a certain amount of time, it'll send like a signal, whatever, to Nielsen.
Oh, interesting.
But my understanding is that the TV ratings for Japan doesn't it count? It does not account for the entire country itself.
Okay, I don't know off the top of my head, but I just found an article. Makeup.
While you're looking at that,
the audience size is determined by using two factors. Let me read this for a second, then I'll report it to you.
Yes. Kobe Day says Tenjin versus Gomi and Shibatara versus Kubo being 2 rounds, 3 minutes hurts the ratings. Hafid says if Kohaku gets Showa era idols on there, then I want to watch. When we're talking, what's her name? The one who she just died recently. I know her mother. I think her mother was a Showa era. You know, CJ, who we're talking about?
Sorry, what are you saying?
Oh no, Hafi would say if Kohaku gets Showa era idols on there, then he'd want to watch.
Yeah, that'd be a long time ago. Yeah.
So if they got what's her name? I know the girl who died just recently. Her mother.
The girl that fell off the building.
Yes, fell.
Yeah, her mom's aren't both her parents like famous Broadway people? What like Sayaka something?
I'm very bad with my idol knowledge.
Yeah, so am I. Like I barely.
Code Mayday says Kanto region of TVs for a sample size.
Okay. Kanto includes Tokyo.
That's what I was trying to think of what the region was called.
Okay. So let me think. That's funny.
Jamie says
last year Kohaku had Baby Metal, but now that Baby Metal's on hiatus, I'm just not interested. So
didn't they already peak already? Because I remember they were big in the US for like a while.
How dare you say that Baby Metal's peaked? They haven't even begun to peak.
They haven't. I feel like they were like well known before a few years ago, and then K-pop took over, and BTS and all those groups just totally just crushed any sort of hope that the J-pop market would ever try to reach.
Never refuse to accept it. Baby Metal opened for Metallica. They're awesome.
Oh, really? For Metallica? Really?
Yeah.
Okay, I guess.
And Lady Gaga.
Oh, okay. Fine boast to make, maybe.
Yeah, big time.
Jamie says
also this year at New Year's Eve, the Triple G fight that they were supposed to be going up against that got postponed.
Well, that wasn't going to be on New Year's Eve anyway. That was going to be.
Oh, was it? Oh, okay, never mind.
I think it was going to be a couple days before.
But they're running unopposed basically. Besides the music festival, right? There's no other.
There's other shows. There's like they don't have the laughing show, but there's every channel is going to have everyone's competing for giant ratings because, in my opinion, New Year's is the biggest holiday in Japan. Like a lot of people go home and what they do is they eat and they drink and they watch TV shows with their family.
Nice. So
my favorite show is this show called Ame Talk, where they make a bunch of where they try to get a bunch of unathletic people and they force them to compete in sports.
But Rizin, the Epic Rizin is the only combat sports programming on that night in Japan, right?
I believe so.
Yes.
I believe so
cool.
this year.
No, actually, there's no other.
They used to counter. There used to be like a lot of counter programming where like K1 and Pride would go against each other, but there's nothing like that this year.
Excellent.
Rizin is the only one that actually has a terrestrial television with Fuji. K1's Abima, which I don't think is.
I don't think they have a New Year's Eve card scheduled, but Jamie would know better.
Excellent. So I'm expecting a big number then for Epic Rizin if they've only got the music festival competition. So that's pretty cool news.
I would guess between around 8% is probably what they get, but
well, that's good enough because if I remember correctly, wasn't that one of their target numbers to get was at least 8% on Fuji? Wasn't that like a target number they were trying to hit each time or something?
I think they're trying. I think they're trying to get the double digits. I think they want to be in the double digits, which they do peak. They peak in the double digits when like Rena and Tenshin. I think the Tenshin Horiguchi fight also had pretty good ratings.
Oh, in the chat, people are saying that there's a last-minute boxing match happening.
Oh, there we go.
On New Year's Eve. Oh, Komei says Kazuto Ioka and Ryoji Fukunaga on a month's notice.
No.
Anything you know about that,
Interesting.
CJ?
Oh no, but I mean, because I just remember they did like a couple years ago. I think when Kid Yamamoto was still alive, he did like a boxing match on a channel that counter programmed one of the MMA shows, and in the highlight, I mean, weren't they even stealing talent from each other? Didn't pro wrestling take Labanner away from a Rising card?
Did
Like,
they?
wasn't Jerome Labanner supposed to be part of a Rising card a while back, and then like
He did the.
Naoki took him or something?
I know he had the fight with Rocky Martinez. Remember, he had the and where he got choked out with a scarf
Yeah.
hole choke. And then I don't know what he
I
was
may be
supposed
I may be blurring like 30 memories together in my mind and getting
No,
too old.
I think you're right, CJ. I think it was Yamamoto and was it Masato that he fought like an exhibition counter programming match? It was
No, that wasn't
something
kind
like
of. There was something that happened.
yeah, it's
where-
something like that. But this year there's nothing except for some last minute boxing match that
Oh.
got put together.
Oh.
apparently.
Code Mayday has a IGF, the Inoki Genome Federation, paid LeBaron to show at their show.
Oh,
And
there we go.
Is that when Labanner was supposed to fight Baruto?
Yep.
Yes, I knew it. Dementia hasn't taken over yet. I
don't have
have
CTE.
flickerings of memories.
No CTE there.
I will remember that giant Frenchman and his supposed when he wasn't involved. I was upset.
So I gotta ask CJ, there's 60 fights, whatever. Potential, 3 fights that you're looking forward to on this card the most.
My top 3.
Yes, the one that you're looking forward to the most.
All right, let me get out of this current
Well,
Jerome banner page that I was looking at.
JayWolf, while he's looking up the card, what about you? 3 fights that you're looking forward to.
Okay. What the top one is
Keep them
to
to 3. I know you're probably looking forward to everyone, but keep it to 3.
Oh, that's true. That's true. Of course, for me, I love the one night Grand Prix final. That's Pride style. You know me. I'm Pride never die through and through. And I'm looking for. I love the one night Grand Prix, and I love the one night Grand Prix finals. That's what I'm looking forward to the most. And then also my girl Reina. She's one of the most beautiful fighters on the planet right now. One of the best, most beautiful women fighters on the planet right now. And I'm really excited I'm really glad that she stepped up to help bring star power to this card for Epic Rise. I'm really looking forward to that bout as well, especially from CJ dropping the knowledge about her opponent, saying that she's a striker. So we could potentially get a striker's delight out of that match as well. And then, of course, I mean, I guess that this counts as 4 because the one night Grand Prix finals 2, but the other one would be that I'm really looking forward to is Bay Noah fighting Takeda, because like I was saying, Takeda's coming off a Fight of the Year candidate. Bay Noah is a really good looking crossover fighter from kickboxing. I mean, it's just, I mean, those are 3 fights that stand out to me right here. That I'm just, to be honest with you, I'm looking forward to the whole card, but those 3 are if I had to pick 3, that'd be it.
How about you, CJ?
All right. So, I mean, it's kind of a tough question because this card is like, with a couple of maybe like 1 or 2 exceptions. I mean, this card's stacked with fighters I like watching fight. And
Yes.
a lot of the fights are really good. But if I'm going to pick 3 that I'm most looking forward to, I'm going to cop out and say that I'm looking forward to the finals of the tournament. And if that's Inoue Kai or if that's Ogikubu Kai or Inoue Takizawa, whoever it is, I'm looking forward
Anybody
to that fight.
besides Matoya. Anybody
Yeah.
besides Matoya in the final.
I mean, if Motoya, as he's walking out to the ring, Shuto Watanabe jumps the barrier and hits him with a steel chair and then marches to the ring and fights Kentaro, I'll be very happy. So that'd be amazing, and I'd love it. My second fight I'm looking forward to the most, obviously, Shibatara versus Kubo. All about it. The entrances are going to be awesome, and we're going to be graced by the presence of the greatest singer in Japan's voice as Kubo comes to the ring, I assume. And outside of that, I'm going to pick Hamasaki Izawa because I love passing of the torch potential matches. I love the old veteran against the young prospect. How good is Seika Izawa? We're going to find out, and I'm excited to see. Plus, Hamasaki is the only Japanese fighter in history to win a North American MMA title. And so it's always a treasure to watch her fight.
I'm going to pick, Shibatara versus Kubo. I'm hoping that we're going to get epic memeness with that fight. I really hope that there's just because of who's involved and who's not involved. I guess who directly, who's indirectly, Sarah Kubo. I'm hoping there will be some just meme-worthy stuff from it, and just meme-worthy
if it
action.
turns into pro wrestling, I wouldn't be upset. Like if Sarah Kubo got into the ring and started part of the fight, I'd be okay with it.
Or she tries to distract Shibatar.
Yeah. Or if she gets in a fight with one of the YouTubers that comes out with Shibatar, like ringside, I'd be okay with that too.
Hagiwara versus Suzuki, because I think it's either I don't think it'll go beyond the first round, but I think it'll be a violent first round. I really think it'll be an incredibly violent first round that they will not be able to show on Fuji TV, even if Hagiwara did not have tattoos. And third, I'm gonna be the odd man out. Tension versus Gomi. Just kidding. No.
I forgot to judge you so hard.
Hamazaki, the way that you talked about Hamazaki and Izawa, I'm more intrigued by it. I still think Hamazaki is gonna win, but I'm more intrigued by what's gonna happen during the fight with everything you've said about it, CJ. You really got me like, I'm now like, okay. I don't think that Hamazaki is going to walk through Izawa as I initially thought.
Yeah. I mean, she might. It's possible she might, but I'm interested to see what happens.
Code Mayday says he's looking forward to Mikuru versus Saito, Hamazaki versus Seika, and Ogi Kubo versus Inoue. Hope Ogi Kubo wins, so Shu is disappointed on Let's Talk.
I'll have to talk Shu down during our next podcast.
Well, listen, if you got Ring of Kai news, that'll bring his spirits up. Hopefully.
Did you see the Christmas card that I gave you? I made the Rinnekai Christmas
card.
Yes,
I did. I had to wash my eyes. But no. But yeah. Did you say that? You said that to everybody?
Yeah.
Did they get the people who are not familiar with Rinnekai get the joke? Though.
I don't think so. No.
Actually, so you know what? Since there's enough fights, CJ, fight that you're least looking forward to the most.
I mean,
pretty easy one.
It's an easy pick. I don't know who Kotomiyoda or Yushi are.
Oh, okay.
Naturally, I have very little interest in it. Like, I mean, even if you say that you don't like the Tenshin versus Gomi fight, I think Gomi's a funny guy. He's like a grumpy old man. And so I'm interested to see what happens. But I mean, there's only one fight on this card where I don't know who they are. And that's Kotomiyoda and Yushi. So naturally, it's my lowest level of interest. I mean,
JayWolf?
I like Kintaro. So I mean, I'm interested in the Yuki Motoya fight because I like Kintaro.
Yeah, I'll pick that one as well. Even though, I mean, I like it because they're still allowing soccer kicks and grounded knees. So it's partial superior rule set. So it's still got the potential for action-packed violence. But so just to be different, I'll pick the Gomi Nasakura fight just because it's just a 2-round boxing exhibition and it's not like a real full fight. But I'm still interested in it for sure, and I'm looking forward to seeing how Tenshin. It's like a little preview of his boxing move, basically, to me.
Code Mayday says, "Damn, CJ, I didn't get the Ring the Kai Christmas card."
Give me your address. I'll mail you an original copy. I'll try to get signed for you.
For me, okay. So if you're picking Gomi, you're picking CJ, you're picking the first fight. Oh my God, I'm totally forgetting who Miura Yushi. I'll be different. I do like Kintaro and I do like Motoya, but I'm still angry that these two are the reserve match.
That is a 100% acceptable reason to not like that fight. Is that it should be Shuto Watanabe, my boy.
And I wouldn't be picking that if it was in addition to Watanabe and Imanari.
Can you imagine the Shuto Watanabe VTR? I mean, the amount of animals he has seems to be rapidly increasing. By the next time he fights, he's going to have like 50 cats, 10 birds, and like 3 dogs.
But then you also could have had, I'm also thinking of just like the craziness you could have just had with Imanari and those confessions as well. So,
Imanari versus Watanabe would have been nuts because that they're both going to grapple, and it's just going to be an insane fight.
Yeah, I know. I love weird fights like that, and it was the perfect opportunity to do it. And I was very disappointed.
I'm also kind of sad that Tokoto's not on the card just because I missed the VTR where they talk about his porn collection. Because they still
They
bring it
probably
up
say that for
every
the
single
landmark.
time. They bring it up every single time.
He's supposed to be. He's probably going to be in somebody's corner, though. I feel like he's always in somebody's corner
That's
whenever
true.
there's a
That's part of
Rizin
lot of
show.
fighters.
Yeah, he's probably going to be on a landmark event, or are they having one in January or February? Probably these guys, Watanabe and all those, are probably going to be on the landmark and whatever events happening in January or February. Bet you anything.
Jamie says Sone Ota is very skippable. It probably, as soon as it goes to the ground, I'll probably just.
Oh, I
See,
don't know about that. Come
Well,
on. I would
No, he's
rather
right.
pick the heavyweight
He's
bout.
right. He's
Well,
right. That's a skippable fight.
No, the heavyweight battle will probably be worse than that one.
No, because I think the heavyweight fight's going to end quickly.
Okay.
We have the potential to watch Ota like have a confused look at his face as he just lays on top of Sone for 3 rounds.
Yeah, as soon as Ota goes, as soon as I see Sone on his back, I'm just gonna be like, okay, this is my time to make some tea because I know they're gonna be there for the entire round.
No,
probably.
it's the time to mentally prepare yourself for the next fight. It's like Shibatar and Kubo are about to come out.
What if Ota's learned how to throw stomps? And what if he scores a badass flying stomp KO? That would become the KO of the year if he did that.
What if he rips his head off? Like, I could throw a bunch of what ifs out there. But I don't think it's going to happen.
Komede says Kintaro and Matoya both went to the second round, unlike Shuto. Imanari versus Shuto seems to be safe for first trigger of the year. Listen, Imanari versus Shuto is a Rizin numbered.
Yeah.
Worthy fight.
Main event, no. Main event, no. Rising Tokyo Dome, Imanari versus Watanabe. That'd be nuts. No, but Watanabe belongs on numbered events. Imanari can go to trigger because he's a veteran, but Watanabe clearly belongs on numbered events.
Listen, no, I think Imanari deserves to be on numbered events.
Or if they're going to keep putting him on landmark shows, I'm okay with that because those are cool.
No, because then we're not gonna get those shows. I can't watch them.
No, they said they were gonna let us.
I'll tell you about them. I'll recreate them. I'll get my dog over here and show you how Imanari ripped a guy's arm off.
But I thought they said they were gonna let us have access to the next landmark show.
That's
just like the same. It's like the same shit over and over again. It's like Scott Coker with Bellator in Japan. Are we gonna be able to watch the post lems? He's like, oh, totally. An hour later, maybe. An hour later, if you don't, we'll make him available. I promise. Like, these guys don't know the contracts with the TV suppliers.
How many times has Rizin said that we're gonna get those old shows that like the fight TV shows? The ones that are like way back, like 2016, 2015, whatever that was.
Yeah. Dude, they were badass shows too. They had Fader Emelianenko on them, everything. I don't see why they don't offer them on DVD or something.
They had the best entrance device when they came up out of those like fluorescent tubes.
Yes.
That was awesome.
I think I was at the last show that they actually ever had those, a Rizin 11 show. And I don't remember them ever happening again after that show.
I think they were super expensive to use, but I love them.
Totally. I agree, CJ. Me too.
Jamie says that Sony could win via choking Odo with his own silver medal, and I wouldn't care.
The only reason I don't want that to happen is I want that one guy in Okinawa to live with the shame of being choked with his own clothing forever and being the only guy to ever have that happen to in Rizin.
Komede says
this happened to Trigger event, right? Where he got choked out with a bow and arrow choke. That was badass.
No, that was the Okinawa.
That was Okinawa. The guy was wearing a karate thing because he's an Okinawan.
And Komede says Imanari might actually outstrike Shuto.
Oh man, you get Imanari doing the whole weird like side stance he does, where he has like the one hand up like this. Beautiful.
Imagine, there's only one way that fight could actually end. They both try for an Imanari roll at the same time, clank heads, and draw or double contest.
Just think of the entrance though. I love Imanari. Comes out to the porn music, and like Lenny Hart is like using her sensual voice as he comes out. So it just upsets me.
Code Mayday says he prefers the big screen opening for the fighters. No, I like the big screen as well, where they have the big giant screen.
I don't know, man. I just loved watching like Crow Cop and Rena come out of the floor.
Yeah, that was cool. I'm with CJ. I like that more elaborate entrance. Yeah. I understand that it was more expensive, and that's why they don't do it now. But I would like them to bring that back eventually, and have Takada beating on the drum in that CJ. What's that called? It's not a like
Daiko, whatever.
Yeah, is that like the little
Yeah.
loincloth that they wear or whatever?
Oh, is it loincloth? No.
We need him a full loincloth.
Umeboshi, whatever I've heard they call that. But did he have like dual knee surgery recently, last year?
Yeah, dual knee surgery, and like now he's been posting about how his son is like is doing like wrestling or MMA as well.
Okay, because I remember when I was thinking he didn't do it last year because his legs were so messed up.
Oh,
he probably thinks he don't have the body anymore to do it, but Takada, it don't matter. We don't want it for nostalgia purposes.
Before we go,
if he won't do it, I'm sure that Usami and Ren Nakai will be more than happy to step up and hit the drum.
Oh, you know what? Hey, wait, Drew, one more thing before we finish. If there is still some Epic Rizin people in the audience listening, I want to for the Rizin Trigger events, do not puss out, okay? Keep the full superior Epic Rizin rule set. I'm talking stomps, soccer kicks, grounded knees, suplexes, slams, 12 to 6 elbows, the entire rule set in the trigger events in the cage. Do not puss out like one championship did. Yeah. Do not puss out like one championship did. Please.
I don't think they will. They won't. They won't.
Okay.
They know.
One championship just pussed out because Roger Huerta looked like he was murdered in the ring because the referee.
Well, that was because at the time they had a weird rule where they had to wait for the referee to okay them to use soccer kicks at the time. And that Roger Huerta KO was because the corner was negligent and should have thrown in a towel. And the referee said, okay, go ahead, soccer kick him. And the fight was clearly over already.
The ref should have stopped the fight at that point. Like, oh, he's dead.
Yeah, but if you notice after that, they changed the rule after the Arlovsky Sylvia fight to where they allowed the full soccer kicks again, and it was perfect. And then they pussed out, and then it's not been as cool ever since then. So my message to the Epic Rizin people: do not puss out, please. Please keep this a full superior rule set for the Rizin Trigger shows and the regular Rizin events in the cage. Please do not puss out like one did. Your product is just absolutely sensational. I love it. I cannot wait. Every single time it's like I'm marking on my calendars. It's sensational. Okay, and we are entering a new golden era next year in 2022. The Takeru Tenshin fight, super fights happening. You guys might actually be able to break the record of 91,000 fans. Please keep the superior rule set. Do not puss out like one championship did. And the sky is the limit for you guys. I love you guys so much. That's what I want to say to them.
CJ, I know you're gonna be at the show. Good luck being at the show for 10 hours or whatever it is.
For Christmas, my wife got me a present. I'm going to the Rising New Year's Eve party, which I think is tomorrow. And I think Kana Asakura and Kawajiri, a bunch of fighters. So it should be fun.
Cool.
Rising does so many more like fun fan events than like the UFC does.
Are they doing the thing where, because I remember when I went to the Rizin New Year's Eve show when they had the 2 shows, they had like a fan event and they had like grappling tournaments as well and like pro.
They're doing that. Yeah, the Saitama Super Arena is opening up at 9 a.m. the day of the event, and they're having like grappling. They're having a bunch of events and stuff, so it should be fun.
That's okay. CJ.
Get some overpriced merchandise as well, because I remember when I went there, this Rizin towels were like $50.
Oh yeah,
something absurd.
It's interesting because like the things you think they would sell, they don't sell, but the things they do sell, it's like super expensive. I always just do like they call it gotcha here. Those like plastic balls that have the things inside of them, because I'm not going to pay a bunch of money for clothing I can't wear.
That don't fit.
Yeah.
But CJ, before you head out, I want to plug everything that you're doing, where people can see you, find you, and also, the floor is yours.
So my website is sogo-kaku.com. Sogo Kaku is like, it's a Japanese word. Sogo Kakutogi is the Japanese word for MMA. So that's why it's called that. I have Twitter and Instagram. You can find the links to that on the website. I do a bi-weekly podcast with Shu Hirata, who's a manager. We didn't do it this week because we wanted to push it till after the Rising event, so we can kind of go over that as well. And so look for that next Monday. And I will be releasing an interview and an article with Seika Izawa probably today. So you guys can keep an eye out for that as well.
Code Mayday says you should also report on the fan event. Try out those octopus meatballs. Octopus meatball? What?
Is
Octopus?
he talking about like takoyaki? Like the
Oh, I think that's what I was like, octopus meatballs? What the fuck is that? And
yeah.
yeah, I think you're referring to Kobe Day is referring to takoyaki. Maybe the octopus balls, just the things that they from the
Yeah, like the bread, the waffle iron that they use to make bread with octopus.
I was
inside of it.
horrified when you like, what are octopus meatballs? Oh my god. JayWolf, plug all of your shit, man. All your epic shit.
Oh, thank you so much. I just want to plug the We Are Rising podcast. It's so great to actually have someone that makes content for the Epic Rising. None of these other quote unquote mainstream media. They don't know their heads from their asses from a hole in the ground. Okay, they're thank goodness for Drew and the We Are Rising podcast that puts out Epic Rising content for us, and the Epic Rising people themselves. You guys should follow their stuff on Twitter. The Rising English Twitter account has a bunch of great content out for us all the time. And I would just like to ask the fans to please actually support Epic Rising and buy this card on Live Now instead of illegally streaming it, because that supports Rising and the Superior Rule Set, and we'll get more of it in the future. And I'm just looking forward to this show. I mean, I can't wait. And like I said, I just want to tell the Rising people, please do not puss out like one did. Please keep the full Superior Rule Set, and that includes face stomps. Face stomps are key. And we just had, I appreciate a lot of people holding off on their year-end KO of the Year awards or Fight of the Year awards until after this New Year's Eve Epic Rising event. And, if there's no stomp KO, I want Shinotari to get the KO of the year, or at least an honorable mention for that was the first stomp KO of the new era that just happened at Trigger. And I want Trigger to also get an honorable mention for event of the year, because it was really action-packed. And I just think that this New Year's Eve show is going to be great. I just cannot wait. I just want to thank the Rising people. I want to thank We Are Rising podcast. If you want to follow me, it's at JayWolf1, and it's spelled with 2 Y's. It's misspelled. That's how you know it's me and not some imposter. So it's JayWolf1 at Twitter, and that's my handle. Please follow, and I follow back as long as you're a real person. And also, what I want to say real quick, just want to make sure I get this in. Want to say, Pride never die. Pride has risen. And that's, of course, talking about the almighty Pride FC, baby.
And
don't you mean that Pride has risen?
That's right.
Oh, Pride has risen. Yes. Yes.
Drew, how long did you have to say risen?
I did it for one show, and I still have the handle as We Are Rizin. I didn't know
how to phonetically spell it.
Yes. Yeah. That was such a dumb. I put out, well, if Sergio wins, I'm gonna have to change the name, and then guess what? He fucking wins. I cursed. That was I cursed. I'm the one who probably caused that win to happen because of my my witchcraft, of my tweet witchcraft that I put out there. So yes, you can follow the We Are Rising podcast at We Are Rising Pod. My personal account is at abenja1. Follow Chris at Chris Gary 92, and he's also with Focus Fights. And yeah, Rizin FF English, Rizin FF. You can follow them on Twitter. The show will be on Live Now. I think it's is it available now?
Yes, it is. Available right now on Live Now to purchase. So go get it. Go purchase early.
Damian Brown and Joe Ferraro with special appearance by Johnny Case will be on the English side of the commentary. And hopefully there'll be some New Year's Eve meme-ness, goodness.
Absolutely.
People getting destroyed. Sarah Kuba singing. There's a lot to look forward to.
Yes.
With that being said, everybody, enjoy the fights. Keep your hands up at all times. And we